even more powerful. These drugs, these synthetic forms of opioids, are causing most of the deaths now in my state of Ohio and around the country. The Center for Disease Control, CDC, recently issued a report which showed this increase in overdose deaths involving fentanyl. The report analyzed overdose deaths in 10 states hit hardest by the epidemic, including Ohio. It found that fentanyl overdose deaths in those states nearly doubled from the last 6 months of 2016 to the first 6 months of 2017. They found that fentanyl overdose deaths in those states nearly doubled from the last 6 months of 2016 to the first 6 months of 2017. And of course, 2017 is the last year for which they have good records. Unbelievable. This synthetic form of heroin is the new scourge of the opioid epidemic. And by the way, it's being spread into every other drug too. So when I do roundtables back home, as I do regularly, I hear about it being spread into crystal meth, into cocaine, being spread to heroin, of course. Twice in roundtable discussions I've had and with community leaders, I've heard one from a police chief, one from a sheriff, both very similar stories about a young man who wakes up from an overdose after being saved through Narcan, this miracle drug that reverses the effects of an overdose. And when the young man comes to, he says, I was just smoking pot. How did I overdose? And in both cases, based on the forensics, the information that they were able to get from the labs, they found out, of course, that it wasn't just marijuana. It was marijuana laced with fentanyl. So no street drug is safe. They can all kill you. As I've met with these first responders, community leaders, and those in recovery across Ohio, as I just did recently with a group called Prevention First, I've heard what is often brought up by those on the front line, and that is that we would be making so much more progress right now on this war against opioids, that we've been successful here in this Congress in passing more money for prevention and treatment and recovery. Those funds are starting to be used back home, and I see it. I see the results, and there's some really exciting stuff going on. But for the fentanyl, in other words, just as we were finally making progress on prescription drugs, and then on heroin, now this fentanyl comes in, and it's creating even more problems. It's so inexpensive and it's so pervasive. Recently in Ohio, there were 2 busts where they were able to apprehend people who were selling fentanyl and find this cache of fentanyl that they had. In both cases, it was a massive amount. Combined, just these 2 busts alone, enough fentanyl to kill half the people who live in my state of Ohio. That's how bad it is. Just last week, there was an autopsy that revealed that the death of an Ohio police chief from Kirkersville in the Columbus area was caused by fentanyl. The report said, and I quote, acute intoxication by fentanyl. It was an accidental overdose. I've told before the story about the police officer who brushed a couple of flakes off of his shirt after a bust. Didn't know it was fentanyl. Those flakes were the drug. It got into his skin through his fingers. He dropped to the ground unconscious, had an overdose, and it took several doses of Narcan to save his life. Our first responders are also in much more danger now with fentanyl than they have ever been, even with heroin and prescription drugs and other opioids. Addiction has taken too many lives in Ohio, and again, fentanyl is the deadliest drug in this epidemic. There was a recent estimation by a group called the Ohio Alliance for Innovation in Population Health, which suggested that opioids are responsible for more than 500,000 years of life expectancy lost in Ohio between 2010 and 2016. Think about that. 500,000 years of lost life due to opioids in Ohio just in the 6 years between 2010 and 2016. These are often lives of young people who had great promise ahead of them, and they become involved in this opioid epidemic, and the addiction takes over, and it's more important than anything. It's more important than their family, more important than their friends, more important than their job, more important than their faith, more important than taking care of themselves, and they end up, sadly, losing their lives and all that opportunity and all the purpose that God had for them in their lives. So we need to turn the tide on this opioid epidemic. We can't do it, in my view, unless we get at this issue of fentanyl, because that's the big new story. And we need to look at how it's coming, why it's so cheap. Well, here's what's very interesting and might be surprising to some people. It's not coming across the border from Mexico. Or if it is, it's very little of it. That's where the heroin's coming from, about 90% of it probably. More pure than ever, more dangerous than ever. But the fentanyl, this deadly fentanyl, is mostly coming through the mail system. It's being mailed into the United States of America, mostly from overseas, mostly from China. So there are some evil scientists somewhere in China making this fentanyl and then shipping it into your community. And it's the #1 killer right now. And by the way, opioid overdose and deaths is the #1 cause of death in my home state of Ohio. And nationally, it's now the #1 cause of death among people under 50 years old. So it's surpassed car accidents. It's an epidemic. So how could that be? And what can we do about it? Well, there is something we can do about it. We've got to be sure that the post office helps law enforcement to find these packages as they're coming in and to get these packages out of circulation so they don't come into our communities and poison our families, our children, our neighbors. We have legislation to do that. It's called the STOP Act. 1/3 of the members of the Senate have now co-sponsored that legislation. We've now had it reported out of the Finance Committee of the United States Senate. We need to get it to the floor and get it to a vote. It's really very simple. It's legislation that Amy Klobuchar, a Democrat in Minnesota, side of the aisle, and I have come up with that says the post office should have to do what any other carrier would have to do. FedEx, UPS, DHL, which is under law, they have to tell law enforcement in advance what packages are coming in, where they're coming from, what's in it, where it's going. You have to provide that electronically so you can use big data to be able to sift through the millions of packages that come in and to be able to find ones that are suspect. And then immediately use sophisticated equipment to scan those and screen those and to pull, again, those out of circulation that have fentanyl. I've been to these distribution centers for these private carrier companies. I've seen how they do it. I've seen the dangerous work that the Customs and Border Protection men and women are doing, usually in a room that has significant ventilation, and they have to have masks on and gloves. They have to be very careful about it. But thank God they're there because they're saving lives. But if you send it through the mail system, that very rarely happens. We did a year-long study of this in our subcommittee, permanent subcommittee investigations I talked about earlier. And we found a number of things that were very troubling. One is just how easy it is to buy fentanyl online. But second is the fact that these drugs, when they come in through the post office, it's guaranteed delivery. The traffickers will say if you send it by FedEx or another private carrier, UPS, again, DHL and others, it's not guaranteed. But if you send it through the government agency, no problem. That's not the way it should be. And by the way, letter carriers, the mail carriers in my community, in your community, they want this fixed too. Because they care about what comes into their community. They care about the people who they serve, and they want to be sure that they're not delivering poison. They also are at risk, just like anybody else is who's anywhere in that train. I talked about the law enforcement officers. I think of the other first responders who are using Narcan to revive people. They sometimes get exposed to it. We have too many stories of kids, little kids dying from being accidentally exposed to fentanyl in a home where someone is using it. It's just dangerous stuff, so we've got to fix this. The information as to where it's from, where it's going, and what's in it, when it's put into a digital format and can be analyzed, can quickly, through incredible intelligence that our Customs and Border Protection people have, be able to determine whether that package is suspect or not. And that will make a huge difference in taking this offline and keeping this poison coming into our communities and ensuring that we can, in fact, begin to stop some of the poison, but at a minimum raise the price by reducing the supply. The post office, frankly, because of the pressure that they've gotten from Congress on this over the last few years, have begun to start to look at some of this. They've begun to provide some of the electronic data. Based on testimony that they provided to our subcommittee just recently, they are now receiving data on about 36% of the international packages they transport into the country. Unfortunately, of that 36%, just over a third, about 80% of those packages are presented to law enforcement, 20% get lost and end up going into the system, into our communities, even though we know they're suspect. So it's very inefficient right now. It's not working well, plus some of the data is not decipherable. So we have a long way to go. Even if all 36% was being delivered to law enforcement, that would mean that 318 million international packages each year is coming in without any screening. 318 million packages. So the STOP Act is very simple. It just holds the post office to the same standard as private carriers, 100% screening, and requires that by 2020 they get all this data on all the international packages entering the United States. It's a common sense solution. It's already passed the House of Representatives recently with a broad bipartisan vote. Our committee has reported it out. We need to get it to the floor and get it voted on. If we do so, by the way, it will be signed, because the administration has already issued a statement of administration policy on it, which supports the legislation. It was actually a recommendation of the President's Commission on Opioids. It's part of the solution. Is it the whole solution? No. But it's a critical part right now to try to stop some of this new poison, this fentanyl, from coming into our communities, the #1 killer, so that we can, through treatment and recovery and through better prevention efforts and better other law enforcement efforts, truly begin to turn the tide on this opioid epidemic. It's critical to do so for so many reasons we talked about this afternoon. And my hope is that my colleagues on both sides of the aisle will come together, at least on this issue, on the STOP Act, and say, yes, we can do something to help those in our community who are suffering, those who are dying from overdoses, those families who are looking to us and saying, what can you do to help? I run into them all the time. Today, I'm heading back to Ohio, and I know that this weekend I will be talking to people in Cleveland and Cincinnati, who I'll be in Columbus, and they will be telling me about it. This week, I was walking down the hall back to my office on Tuesday, and a young man came up to me and said, I just wanted to talk to you about something, and
need to come out or not?
I figured he was with the media. He wanted to ask me a question. I stopped and asked him what he wanted, and he said, I just want to tell you thank you. And he started to well up.
In a previous
and I knew what he was talking about.
And
I knew what he was talking
this is
about.
kind of stemming from
And he was talking about a family member of his who had overdosed and died. And he was talking about the fact that he appreciates that the Congress is finally beginning to respond to this issue. As we have. In the last year and a half, we have passed legislation that is historic here to deal with this issue. But there's so much more to do. Let's make the next step getting the STOP Act enacted into law, and therefore be able to save lives and help people be able to live their God-given purpose in life. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back my time.
We made contact with the reporting party. John Michael McDonald. Do you know him? No, negative. Yeah, I guess they're both intoxicated. What we get from the call, and I guess the father is out there. He popped off around that towards the neighbor's house out there.
025674.
Again? What was the address? It's 9134 Simon.
340 South Alameda Street.
First one.
Black shirt, blue jeans. Walking about 3 feet from the curb in traffic.
Cancel back up. 318 Delta, right? Open this one. Last name
09.
5 miles, County Jail.
Yeah, 1944.
Nora Ocean. First name Juan. 8386.
What is from that point, please?
Right. Wait. 30 down, 320. Property people need to tell skateboarders to leave. I mean, there's legalities involved. But, I'll be clear.
Show -29 all the way around, clear municipal court. Miller has the 27, expires in 20.
Take it, give somebody else.
And Lojano shows an ID card.
30 correct.
Expires 19, 20.
Negative 39.
Transport.
If we're using Lujano's ID number. This is 309?
13507318. 1350.
Under block of Sarita, Frank R. George 2282 10-4.
315.
2 on 10-7. What, you need me out there?
No, sir, I'm going to have a sergeant en route.
I was just trying to find out who's out there so I can try to bring up the call.
Bravo 350. I believe that subject's going to be 9400 SCID. We just saw him on the way to this call. So far.
Yep, 2920 at Baldwin and Regan. It's going to be in the circle case.
Who's responding?
230, 270, 370. Those are only units available.
Oh, John Charles 137.
John Charles 13784.
Bill Road, lot number Adam 07, and I'll be out here for a while. There's several.
6301 Old Brownsville, Adam 0710-4.
360, I'm clear.
60 cleared to 4.
1104, show me clear. Subject was this, please.
594 shows 29 Iowa for failure to appear on dangerous drugs. They will not extradite.
Number David
1 municipal court warrant. Negative 29 PCN.
3221 Whitetail Drive. No. We're just headed by
known to carry a knife.
Just advise of the pending. One suspicious vehicle and one welfare concern.
Simple.
Clear.
70 to 4.
We have to go to Hispanic male in all black clothing. He's going to be sitting at the picnic table at the park.
We're sending out all black clothing, sitting at the picnic table at the parking lot. Copy.
Doctors beginning mileage 0.1.
0.1 to 4. 1713 Charles Drive, 173 Trenton Drive, cross street of Churchill. It's a female, 102 years of age, 100 breathing. Information still coming in, work off fire dispatch 1710.
Give her MC.
Medic green cap.
That's our MC warrant, theft under 100. You have social. I'm getting a hit, possibly 29. He has different aliases. Do a call back.
It's got a middle name of Monday. It's going to be him. Robert Nacker, the call rate looks kind of confused.
330, can you be en route to the RP's residence, 4229 Loman, contact Aaron.
You know, she told me diarrhea since Friday. She noticed today with her vomit that she had a couple of spots where blood in her. Vitals BP 152 over 86. Pulse was 91. Blood sugar 134. 98. O2 sound repaired. We have the 20 gauge in the right AC, and we'll be code to your facility in approximately 6 minutes.
60, 02 to 1202B, please.
Suspended search RC to no driver's license.
I'm looking at one for theft out in Nueces County. Can you confirm or fax it? He's in custody. Ninja 5. It's in service and quarters.
70.
At this time, it seemed like he was just banging on stop signs.
And 10-4, Charlie 2, Charlie 3, copy.
No drive-by. Thank you, show. Got me clear?
1504, clear.
No, call me. Good. 3014 Twin Creek Drive.
they said he's not there. I guess it's a no-show. I don't know.
Write the times there and your mileage, okay?
I'm 10-4.
Clear for 7.
Wait, location.
Acme 21st, entering X-ray 9286.
Respective 1900 North Chaparral.
Okay, well, I'm answering back for 144 and 71, and I'm not getting any response, so I don't know if this radio is working or not. Sorry. Yeah, I'm copying here, airline in Alameda. I'm on Violet because I guess in this meeting they said that Shoreline was having a lot of problems. Well, our discussion was that the Violet repeater degraded first, but Shoreline followed suit, so both of them have their problem. Well, I just know that on Shoreline nobody's answering me back. Tens are having doctors ending mileage 4.2.
Charlie 224.
Let 360 continue with 340 since they got that burglary pending for a while in 30.
Bravo 36, I'll show you backing out. Bravo 330, I'll show you clearing inbound for burglary not in progress. 6197 Dunbar, nope. 6197 Dunbar, nope.
Bravo 360, 10-4. Bravo 320, what time did I arrive? Did I arrive on the call?
Was that 1912?
Training.
John 6137.
You don't feel like that station indicate number?
All units going to be out at 2321 Frederick, looking for 29 subjects.
That's at 208.
3 update.
944. Visual 1, 2018. Wait.
10-4, 5813. 330.
Adam, young Adam,
Adam 320, 10-4.
828 of 2001.
426 family.
470, the vehicle's not here anymore. 10-4, 4-5.
The smells of burning smoke coming from the outlet where the blender was. Fire dispatch 2010.
Show us out at 714 Rolf.
Major 14 are out.
1-4, lost to 10-4.
49, 476, and the last one is 126.
Thanks, go ahead.
Well,
You started impound and we put the record ID on the call.
Alright, 10-4.
960, 10-4 on the impound.
340.
Just got flagged down versus reference Vicious Dog 2907 Mary. Let me check it out.
907 Mary 10-4.
Charlie 270, 10-4.
On that complete static and 4300 Cedar Pass. John Charles Sands 9206.
Charles Sam 9206, 4300 Cedar Pass.
going for a personal.
4911, 10-4.
Well, I'm not pulling anything around, it looks like midnight possibly. I can't tell. Those officers are day officers, they're Adam 1, so it's probably going to be during the day. Just 210. Mark's available, just starting this way, no rush. Rush. What? For him.
advice, I'm in 2032 and I'm 10-8 out of the yard. Thank you.
We gotta hold your bombs down. The fire's contained. We're gonna go ahead and close that.
Alright.
22 Ocean Drive, 10-4.
4.
The Tamara De La Cruz at 6709 Deerwood, advising that the vehicle had ran the reporting party off the road, occupied by a male driver, turned into the stripes by Coles, Patrol 3 at 2019. Not to a disturbance with a weapon at Horn and Naples. Horn and Naples. RP's advising. And got a pocket knife.
09-324.
It looks like he's shown to have license to carry. Rivera out of Egnot, Texas. He's negative 29 NCIC PTSD. His deal is not clear. Class C, Art 2001 out of Victoria. A suspended still charged due to mandatory conviction. He does sort of have a CTW at 301 I-37. It was dated 17 of 12 by Sergeant Bustamante.
What's the first name you show?
317 10-4.
It's the 2802 Cimarron. Okay, 10-4. Printed out the routes before it went down, so I just have a copy, like, what was on the system before it went down.
Okay, so she is going home.
4.
Yep.
Paul 7090 Sun Valley at Wolf Creek.
Charlie 330 in line.
Do you have the license plate?
Man, we made contact with the RTA. There's no answer at the house. We'll be clear.
Medic.
Bravo.
You're at 5801 McCardle.
Clear.
4.
350, 10-4. That's truck 4 out of 30. False alarm, both the other clear. To me for male patient with chest pain, conscious Charlie. Charlie, look off. EMS 1, 2024.
Number 3, copy. 4 location.
4322 Costores, apartment 1101.
322 Costores, number 1101.
We're not going to be out on the street. Have an officer out there. Okay. Have a subject slumped over the wheel inside. He is conscious of breathing, not speaking. Work Fire Dispatch 2025.
70 for attempted contact welfare at 3537 Venture, 3537 Venture. RP can be contacted if needed.
Do you have time for no issue? Get it right now. Or thanks. It's going to be 120.
Roll for check.
Number 320, we're okay.
900 stable, 10-4.
Charlie 260, interrupt. Anybody here? Rescue 3, unknown nature. South Staples and Elizabeth. Staples and Elizabeth. Elderly male. Fell down, hit his head. Unsure what's going on. Plug off. Fire Dispatch at 2027.
Also a 375 to an unknown EMS at South Staples on Elizabeth. South Staples on Elizabeth. It's going to be a elderly male at the location. Looks like he fell and hit his head. Wearing a black shirt and blue jeans.
Elderly male that fell down, hit his head multiple times. He was bleeding from the head. Work on PMS 1 at 2028.
on the manifest that I printed out, but hold on, let me look again.
Delta 240, Delta 260.
Yeah, I just heard from my route earlier.
Female for Major 4038 Southport 4038 Southport.
Montana Mike to airline, right?
Yeah, she on Staples and she was going to airline.
She should be there, just give her the 5, I guess.
4.
Parking illegal calls. Park legally out here, nothing on the park.
Back to the Charlie substation.
Route 4, 31044.
49 Green Grove. 1649 Green Grove.
Doesn't know. Yellow line.
Delta 270, I'll show you clear.
Base to Route 33, base to Route 33, Ariana.
Here, go ahead.
Do me a favor and reset your MDT. You have to hold the power button, F2 and F5 down until it all turns green, and then it'll restart and then log back into it.
Can you fax over his MC warrant to CDC?
See the MCL or did it fax to CDC?
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Clear.
Give me a second, I'm with the passenger.
One of the drivers is requesting EMS.
Got it, thanks.
Oh, and he's holding a 5.
George Sam Lincoln, 6993.
24 westbound and FM 3386. What do you want?
Yes, ma'am.
Proceed to info.
No.
The kid is back, so.
State Park. Gold Suzuki, passenger car, license plate, Boy Mary 3, Nora 870, Boy Mary 3.
Of course, a callback advised that you possibly had kept his ID card. Did you need the printout, or you just wanted the number?
640 traffic. 340. Alessandro, Boy Adam 015.
1117 17th Street. It's going to be a mail in front of the location, messing with the mailbox.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that appointments at the desk appear separately in the record as if made by the chair.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that following leader remarks on Monday, July 23rd, the Senate proceed to executive session for the consideration of following nomination, Executive Calendar 1000. I ask consent that the time until 5:30 be equally divided in the usual form, and that following the use or yielding back of time, the Senate vote on the nomination with no intervening action or debate. That if confirmed, the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table. The President be immediately notified of the Senate's action. That no further motions be in order, and that any statements related to the nomination be printed in the record.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that following the disposition of the Wilkie nomination, that the Senate resume legislative session and proceed to consideration of H.R. 6147.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that when the Senate completes its business today, it adjourns until 3 p.m. Monday, July 23rd. Further, that following prayer and pledge, the morning hour will be expired. The journal is proceeding to approve the date, the time for the two meetings to be reserved for today, and morning business be closed. I ask that following leader remarks, the Senate proceed to executive session under the previous order.
Without objection.
So if there's no further business coming before the Senate, I have to stand adjourned under the previous order following the remarks of Senator Sullivan.
Transported
Without
to
objection.
Driscoll. And medics said it looks like it's going to be a reaction to the meds that he's currently on, an antidepressant.
Yeah, I had to do something right quick, but I got here pretty quick.
Right next to Sears.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, 10-4. It's gonna be like a pickle.
4 sir.
10-4, appreciate it, Melvin. Yes, sir. On the call route right now, looks like the guy just fell around Staples and Elizabeth. He stumbled across. We found him over at 1210 Staples. He had a large laceration on his about his left eye. Thanks for taking him.
5 to CDC. Secure for... Is your radio secure? Go ahead. Julian is going to be 29 out of Nueces County. Some descriptors, he's 5'10", 200. Bonneville, black. Last Florida social is going to be 667. Before burger rehabilitation. No bond amount. Just confirm.
Uniform, confirm and fax CDC, please.
Back 5445, South Alameda, 5445, South Alameda. It's going to be a Part B apartment. Contact data in the apartment 27.
Transmission from 1022 calling base. Okay, she's telling base that she called us 3 times and we had no answer. We gave her no answer. We've had both radios on. I haven't left this radio off my side. She was supposed to wait for the tech at Lantana and Leopard, and he's there now, and she took off. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, 10-4. I heard that traffic, but I didn't hear anything. Show us available.
Trying to say she's gone.
There's a concession stand.
1201 Leopard at City Hall, cross street of North Staples and North Alameda. Listen, there's a female that was on the ground. She's now talking to the RP. The call's still being updated. PD's going to be en route as well. Lookout fire, dispatch 2044. 812.
Advising that she fainted. There's 2 ducks 3.
Stop 2, why don't you identify no code on that?
No code.
310. Still there described right across the beginning.
New Jersey and
Washington. We're not getting anything back, but as far as the names, they are coming back at -29. TCIC and CIC.
Waiting.
You go to an address on Lazy. I can't remember off the top of my head. We dealt with these people last week. We'll be there in a second. Let you know what it is.
They stopped where the restrooms are.
Causeway, it's going to be John George Victor 6087.
Who has hit and run that's been pending for 2 hours, and a theft not in progress been pending for 2 hours.
Okay, I-69, access road northbound, County Road 52, George X-ray 6020.
9 access northbound and County Road 52, 10-4.
Yeah, not unable to locate anybody matching that description. 330, 10.
310 Bravo 320, 10-4.
Kins is negative 29 TCIC, NCIC. We are showing to have 8 MC warrants. They're all going to be bench warrants for PI. And he's showing to have an ID card only. That expired in 2022. That's correct.
240, go ahead. I gotcha.
10-4, thank you.
Bravo 340.
Morning.
Ocean Nora, first name Edwin. Date of birth, 1/1880.
From 1889 and County Road 46 on King Nora Young 8176.
No male in custody, victim.
31 adult male in custody at 2051 temporary. 50 temporary clear.
Depression. He states he's stressed out.
Last name Rodriguez.
Current vital signs, blood pressure 146 over 80. Heart rate is 80. Respiration's 22. O2 sat is 99% on room air. Finger stick is 89. Able to obtain IV. ETA is going to be 3 minutes.
3537 Venture, 3537 Venture.
So far.
Airline 0.1 temple.
female to gas station on the island so she can get gas. 0.0.
2033.
Hey, Adams. Some male going towards Stripes on Annapolis and Staples.
Line, any mileage 0.6. Temple.
1.75 out of service.
Lifeguard 1 is on team. It's 1.10 155. 87, we got it.
Yeah, 546, Hanover.
25 and San Maria.
2032.
Informant service.
Actually, don't reset. Just log off and log back on. See if you can see them. We just push some trips to you just to take a look and test it. You don't actually have to do the trips.
Usually have the freeway closure signs out. I didn't see if they did.
Spanish Oaks Apartments, Apartment 220. Just be advised that subject is going to be 29.
Show me an area, King.
10-4. Yeah, we're not finding anything out here. No problem.
Go ahead. I'm out of service from Maple Street tonight.
35 here.
Wanting to go to the Buffalo call.
Number 3.
I don't know why they're closing off that or
0172.
let me know if I need to go up before Everhart. I'm still right above before Weber.
Mr. President,
Senator from Alaska.
Okay,
Mr. President, it's Thursday afternoon, and it's one of my favorite times of the week, and I know for many of my fellow senators, including the presiding officer and the Pages, this is one of their favorite times of the week, too, because it's the time that we get to talk about the Alaskan of the Week. Now, there are people, I had a couple people today come up, hey, Senator, when are you giving your speech on the Alaskan of the Week? I saw him later and he said, okay, well, we're going to keep an eye on it because people find a lot of interest in what's happening in the great state of Alaska. Now, the Alaskan of the Week, as many of my colleagues know, is somebody who we like to highlight, who's just done great stuff for the state. Community, town, state, maybe country, sometimes it's someone famous. But, Mr. President, oftentimes it's somebody who's been working really hard for much of their life and doesn't get a lot of recognition. Just doing it. The heroes of the community. And so that's why we like to talk about the Alaskan of the Week. It's also a great opportunity to talk to people in the gallery, people watching on TV and C-SPAN, to get them to come on up to Alaska. Come on up. It'll be the trip of a lifetime. Of course, it's a gorgeous, huge state. Mountains, glaciers, wildlife. But here's something else. When you get off the plane and you go to Alaska, you get the sense of freedom, liberty. You can almost breathe it in ways that you can't in other places. So, I ask everybody who's watching, come on up. You'll love it. It'll be a trip of a lifetime. You'll feel that freedom in the air like you do in almost no other place in the world. So, Mr. President, let me introduce you to our Alaskan of the Week, Jeannie Follett, who has displayed incredible commitment to keep our state clean and special. All right, let's talk about Jeannie. She was born in Detroit. She moved to Anchorage when she was just 6 years old and has called Alaska home ever since. Like so many Alaskans, she's led a very interesting and varied life. She began her professional career as a court reporter for the Anchorage Daily News, a big newspaper, covering all kinds of trials when the state was still new and our court system had just been formed. Remember, we're a very young state. Eventually she moved to Girdwood, which is a beautiful ski resort town outside of Anchorage, where she was a breakfast cook and managed condos. She got a bit restless. She packed up her 65 Mustang and drove across the country, but missed Alaska so much she came back home again. And then she worked on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, TAPS as we call it, that flows the billions of barrels of oil from the North Slope down to Valdez for an energy-hungry country like ours. And then she met her husband Ken when she was working on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. They bought and restored a lodge in a wonderful small community called Moose Pass, a warm, welcoming, and gorgeous Alaska community in the heart of the Kenai Peninsula, about 100 miles south of Anchorage. And if you're going to go fish the famous Russian River, Moose Pass is a great home base. Ken and Jeannie worked at the resort until they both retired. And Jeannie always liked to keep her yard and her surroundings clean and organized, free of trash. But when her husband Ken unfortunately got sick, and then tragically she lost him over 13 years ago, Jeannie began to spend her days helping clean up the state, picking up trash on the road by her house, further and further from her home in Moose Pass. Now, Mr. President, think of this. As the snow melts in Alaska and in all sorts of weather, to this day, Jeannie laces up her hiking boots, grabs her visor, her gloves, her safety vest, drives up the highway to the spot where she left off the previous day, and starts cleaning up the highway. Every single day. She gets out her bags, she starts walking and cleaning up trash on the side of the highway. And this highway abuts the majestic, beautiful Chugach National Forest. She guesses that every summer she spends 3 to 6 hours a day volunteering, picking up trash. Think about that. Alaska is a beautiful, pristine place. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that when people come to visit, they're going to see. But like all states, in particular highway areas and states, you have some garbage. And so Jeannie takes action every single day, doesn't get paid. 3 to 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. She's out there cleaning up the highway. Sometimes friends and neighbors come and help out. Boy Scouts join her. One summer she picked up 800 bags of trash to keep Alaska clean and pristine. People stop on the side of the road to talk to her, ask where the nearest gas station is. Sometimes people donate gas money to her because remember, she's starting where she left off the next day, just to drive up the highway 40 miles to continue. So it's not just time and effort, it's actual money. She thinks her presence on the side of the highway helps motivate others. There was a story recently on KTUU, Channel 2, that's our big news station in Alaska, and she said in that story, she thinks that she's helped inspire people to help keep the whole state clean. Whether it's picking up trash themselves or not throwing litter outside your car. So why does she do it? Why does she do it? Several hours a day, no pay, day after day, week after week. She does it because she loves Alaska. She wants to keep it clean. She doesn't want the many tourists. We have hundreds of thousands, really millions of tourists who come to our state to see trash when it's going to be a trip of a lifetime. said, quote, it embarrasses me to think that tourists from the lower 48 might show up in Alaska and see trash. So I'm going to clean it up. She does it because it's her way to give back to a state that has given her so much. She also gets to see things that others don't see often. Beautiful wildflowers on the road, creeks, secret vistas. I'm sure she's seen a few bears and a lot of bald eagles and moose. She even saw a man once walking a chicken. Yes, this is everything in Alaska. A man walking a chicken. Well, Jeannie, she's found lost items on the side of the road, fishing licenses, cell phones, cameras, and she tries her best to get these back to their owners. Once she found a set of hubcaps that had contact information on it for the owner. When she called and told him she had his hubcaps, he couldn't believe it. He was tickled pink to get his hubcaps back. So, Mr. President, I think every state has somebody like Jeannie, there's no doubt. We all owe a debt of gratitude to people like her, working selflessly, volunteering thousands of hours to keep our states clean like Alaska, to keep America clean. So, Jeannie, thanks for what you're doing for the great state of Alaska, and thank you and congratulations on being our Alaskan of the week. I yield the floor.
Under the previous order, the Senate stands adjourned until Monday at 3 p.m.
Just to gray or blue Chevy Cruze, has the lights on, in the right lane.
Ryan Morgan in 320 blue.
Sir, go ahead.
Yeah, reference to overdose call. 21-year-old female conscious large. She took a unknown or an unknown pill or an unknown amount, but she's conscious to be committed.
Judge, tell thank you. Good morning.
And baseball sheds are secure at Carroll.
I can change it.
Thank you.
First name Mark, last name Haddix, Haddix.
Lincoln Ocean, Young David, first name Billy.
We only got two of you guys, huh?
10-4, they need it. I need one or two more officers today.
Yeah, you probably make sure Joe knows that.
Accident, white Dodge truck. Driver of the truck took off running, possibly intoxicated.
Senate will come to order. Today's opening prayer will be offered by Reverend Dr. Richard Gibbons of First Presbyterian Church from Greenville, South Carolina.
I think it's going to go around. I think they're already there working.
Well, we're looking through the call now.
Let us join our hearts and minds together and let us pray. Gracious God and loving Heavenly Father, as we prayerfully seek your presence, enable us amidst complex challenges to be refreshed and renewed by the transforming nature of your extravagant love. Impart to us a profound sense of gratitude, thankful that in your sovereign purposes We are a people conceived in liberty, shaped by adversity, dedicated to equality, while fully dependent on you, for in God we trust. Father, grant to us a renewed sense of your calling, sustained by the enduring values we hold to be self-evident. Equip us by your Spirit to be a Senate defined by consensus through compassion, expertise enlightened by experience, leadership resistant to polarization and expediency, yet intentional in unity, honesty, transparency, and integrity, as together we seek to be one nation under God. We bring our prayers to you in and through the name of Christ our Lord.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
330, yeah, show me clear at the top of the stripe and then out at the call at Mary. So 330, I've been contacting the other half. Stripes on active.
Clerk will read a communication to the Senate.
Washington, D.C., July 19, 2018. To the Senate. Under the provisions of Rule 1, Paragraph 3 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, I hereby appoint the Honorable Cindy Hyde-Smith, a senator from the state of Mississippi, to perform the duties of the chair. Signed, Oren G. Hatch, President Pro Tempore.
Under the previous order, the leadership time is reserved.
Greenwood and SPID. King Henry 0575.
220 clear.
That's at least one. Ma'am, can you update our location to Deveron and Devon Note?
240?
Yeah, the driver of the truck with the Louisiana LP, his last name is Bordelon.
O-D-E-O and so forth. Move for 16 location.
King William Victor 8075. Cecil Avenue. And for
William Victor 8075, overheard Holly pulling in the strike.
Sorry, I thought you were calling.
Negative.
I'm clear. Now start headed towards that alarm on negatives. Can you show me out of service?
Adam, person's going to be on that place. 7974.
Here's watch up in quarters.
Thanks, 1,000 quarters. Thanks, 21.
Alright, 350 up clear.
350 clear to 4.
Yes, sir, it just dropped.
Clear.
Fort Head, Denver 33061.
Delta 380, your subject Yasada is negative 29 all the way around. US Class C expired in July of this year. It was eligible at that time. And on your subject Yasada, negative 29 all the way around. No 27 return. I'm not showing a subject with that name and date of birth in iLead.
520 on Saratoga Orchard. King 820, 10, 2009, the pilot, recovered by the owner at 9618. Today's date at 1752.
2-4. I will go on 5 or 58 order. 5880 Ware Road. 5880 Ware. 451.
353, 041, clear 318, all advice.
041, 10-4. Yeah, I'm direct. Of course.
Flip.
Highway 358 eastbound, 286 southbound, Highway 358 eastbound, Highway 286 southbound, Charlie 4.
Majority Leader.
Continuing our productive summer, this week we've been focused on confirming more of the President's qualified nominees. After his confirmation yesterday, Andrew Oldham of Texas will now bring his impressive credentials and years of distinguished public service to his new role on the 5th Circuit Court of Appeals. Today we're considering the nomination of Ryan Bounds to serve on the 9th Circuit. Each of these nominees has been selected by the President and his team for their credentials, reputation, and commitment to the rule of law. Each has been thoroughly examined by our colleagues on the Judiciary Committee. Ryan Bounds is no exception. He's earned degrees from Stanford and Yale. He clerked for the very 9th Circuit judge he's been nominated to succeed. For the past 14 years, he's distinguished himself as a public servant at the Department of Justice and in his current role as an Assistant U.S. Attorney for Oregon. Along the way, he's earned the respect and recognition of legal professionals from across the country and the political spectrum. 46 of his colleagues in the District of Oregon described his admirable work ethic, keen judgment, masterful writing, as skills that colleagues and opponents alike should emulate. In a letter to our Senate colleagues from Oregon, criminal defense attorneys who've litigated against Mr. Bounds testified to his, quote, fairness, diligence, and legal acumen. They write he has shown time and time again that he's a man of his word. He's an excellent lawyer and would make an outstanding judge. A number of law professors from across the country seem to agree. They remind us of the standards to which this body is charged with holding judicial nominees: fairness, impartiality, intellectual rigor. To sum it up, in the words of one legal peer, Ryan has all of this and more. So, Madam President, I look forward to voting to confirm this excellent nominee and would urge all of my colleagues to join me. Speaking of excellent nominees, I'd like to speak for a moment about President Trump's outstanding choice for the Supreme Court, Judge Brett Kavanaugh. This week, even more of our colleagues have had the opportunity to meet with Judge Kavanaugh. I'm sure they'll agree that it's hard not to come away impressed. The academic achievement, the judicial credentials, the esteem of his peers and fellow legal professionals. Of course, that hadn't stopped the far-left special interest groups from grasping at straws and trying to smear his nominee any way they can. They don't seem to care whether it's honest or not. They don't seem to care whether it's accurate or not. The latest made-up controversy is an attempt this week to make hay out of comments Judge Kavanaugh made about the long-ago expired independent counsel statute. But once again, there's no there whatsoever. Here, Madam President, are the facts. Judge Kavanaugh's apparent concerns about the independent counsel law appear in line with mainstream views that have been widely held on both sides of the political aisle. Views that were, in fact, strongly held by many of my Democratic colleagues, at least until there was an opportunity to try to make political hay. Congress chose to let the statute expire back in 1999, based in large part on constitutional concerns. Let me say that again. Congress in 1999, on a bipartisan basis, decided to let the independent counsel statute expire. My colleague, the senior senator from Illinois, the assistant Democratic leader in the Senate right now, explained this well when he was fighting any attempt to renew the statute. Here's what he said in 1999 about the independent counsel: unchecked, unbridled, unrestrained, and unaccountable. My friend from Illinois punctuated his enthusiasm for the demise of the independent counsel by saying, I'd like to say to Judge Starr and all of the counsels, your days are numbered. I agreed with him about the independent counsel statute. A number of us in both parties saw it the very same way. So we happily allowed the law to expire. This has nothing to do with special counsel. That's different from the independent counsel.
Yes. hospital,
the day the
so
independent
yelling for
counsel
her mom at the location.
expired, the day we actually finished with the impeachment trial of President Clinton here in the Senate, Senator Chris Dodd from Connecticut and I went upstairs and had a press conference and said we agree the independent counsel statute ought to be allowed to expire, and it did. That has nothing, Madam President, to do with special counsels or any of the other tools that are currently in place for elected officials to be held accountable. This has nothing to do with any investigations that are in the headlines today. Judge Kavanaugh was talking about was a law that has not existed for 2 decades and which the Supreme Court upheld with only a single dissenting vote. And one of the dissenters in the case that upheld the independent counsel statute was Justice Scalia.
The 16-year-old female.
The irony or hypocrisy is that our Democratic colleagues are now criticizing Judge Kavanaugh because he may hold the same views on this subject that they did.
She was the offender in a death under 100.
Or at least they did up until Judge Kavanaugh was nominated.
Let the RTA know.
A view that was shared and acted upon by members in this body on both sides of the aisle, as I have explained. So another day, another off-base
complaining of weakness all day.
Here's how Newsweek dismissed this tempest on teapot. Law experts told Newsweek that Kavanaugh's view on independent counsels has nothing to do with special counsel or Mueller's probe. And in fact, the two types of federal investigations are completely different. Yet again, the far-left special interest groups who are desperate to deny Judge Kavanaugh fair treatment are hoping the media will buy their latest made-up charge.
Haven't heard anything.
Remember the outrage when it was learned that Judge Kavanaugh enjoys baseball? My goodness. Shocking. Well, I'm proud the President has chosen a nominee as strong as Judge Kavanaugh. We should put aside these unfair attacks and misrepresentations and give his nomination the fair treatment it deserves. Now, on a final matter, this week I've discussed a number of converging reports that highlight the strength of this economy for middle-class families and job creators. U.S. retail sales just increased for the 5th consecutive month. Earlier this year, consumer confidence hit its highest level since 2000. More than 1 million new jobs already created in 2018. More job openings than job seekers for the first time in more than 15 years. Over 95% of U.S. manufacturers reporting confidence in their company's outlook, an all-time high. And just this morning, Madam President, this announcement from the Department of Labor. In the second week of July, new claims for unemployment benefits fell to their lowest level, listen to this, since 1969. All of these favorable trends are interrelated. Jay Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, testified before our colleagues on the banking committee this week that, quote, robust job gains, rising after-tax incomes, and optimism among households have lifted consumer spending this month. To put it even more simply, American employers are doing better, so American workers are doing better. So American families are doing better. So American businesses are doing better. This is how a vibrant, growing economy works. This is what happens when Washington, D.C. swallows up less of the American people's money in taxes. When it imposes fewer heavy-handed regulations that make it hard to do business and get the bureaucracy's foot off the brake of our economy. This is among the best, quite possibly the best, economic moments for jobs and opportunity that Americans have seen in recent memory. The policies of this united Republican government help bring it about, and they're helping to sustain it. Earlier this week, the Wall Street Journal reported tax cuts appear to be propelling robust consumer demand. Many households are experiencing less withholding from their paychecks thanks to the tax overhaul.
Crazy. It's going to be in the RP shed. I got the updated MEChANiCAL that is.
According to a recent survey, fewer than 1 in 5 American manufacturers now say that an unfavorable climate due to things like taxes and regulations is the primary obstacle to their businesses. 2013, during the Obama economy, more than 2/3 of the manufacturers said that. 2/3? said it was a problem. In 2013, only 1 in 5 considered a problem. All across the country, as job creators of all sizes have announced worker bonuses, pay raises, and business expansions, many say loud and clear that tax reform is what made it possible. The American people voted. The Republicans kept our promises. So now middle-class families are seeking the effects of the pro-growth policies they asked for in 2016. And the whole world is seeing what the American people can accomplish when their government gets off their back.
Here 450, but that was Raza that you talked to.
Okay, is he 450?
Clerk will call the roll.
450.
Darlene, she'll be in a silver Honda passenger car, and the vehicle's a red Chevy.
70 in County Road 77, 10-4.
Bruce Company.
I stopped that car last night. I don't know which one it's called.
Okay, if you don't mind.
John, George Frank,
5842?
Go ahead.
You Victor Tom 5742, 5 seconds. Frank John 05272.
John, 1875.
The Burger King, Lincoln Boy John, 1875, 10-4.
40 right.
80, 10-4.
Right around that area. He's got a bunch of weed stumps on him, so I think maybe a bag of... Find anything right around there.
375, 10-4.
Get it all around?
So far. First one's an arrest warrant for no driver's license, and the other's an arrest for failed to yield to the right-of-way at a stop sign. He has an ID card only now that expired in 2021. That's eligible.
Does he have any jail history?
Stand by, let me check.
But he was informed to, if anything should, like, occur tomorrow, he needs to go to the hospital. And well, was he broken down and just kind of, or changing a flat or something?
On the right-hand side, that set with just the river trail is set with just the piping for a long time, and they finally put sheet metal on it.
92 and FM 70 for a gray Toyota 4Runner with a disabled placard from the rear view mirror, occupied by a female looks like she's falling asleep, last seen on FM 892 going towards Bishop. On callback, the front desk advised it was possibly the pool phone and they would call back if there was an emergency. Can we clear it?
We're at the one with a 21-year-old female patient, doctor unknown.
320?
Patient's family states that possibly took some pills of unknown pills, last seen about 4 hours ago. She is alert, combative right now. Right now, blood pressure is 108, 62. We got pulse rate on 150, showing signs of attack on the lungs there. Got a finger stick at 98%. History depression is body only.
And her left shoulder.
Attempted 1 IV, unsuccessful.
Denying her check report on the way. We did run a 12 lead on her
ETA is about
verifying data sinus rhythm, no XT, rate of 88.
Got PD warrant in the hospital.
BP is 130.
5 minutes.
Heart rate and
On the sinus test?
Right now, about 140.
Got a tympanic temperature of 100.
You on the right.
We have an IV established. And we'll be at your facility in about 5 minutes.
What's our number?
Very clear, one.
And I'm ready here. I'll
check on that destruction or whatever. South Bay.
Medic 10, engine 17, Medic 10, set call. 7318 Gingerberry, 7318 Gingerberry, 86-year-old male, conscious and breathing. I just sent you a rapid delay response. Looking off of EMS 1 at 2229.
Everybody said everything's okay out here. There was a disturbance. It's over. I'm clear.
Case number 9700.
40 in the air and clear. Delta Temple 110, 2230.
So, copy, please.
Quarters. Quarters.
Pass knocking on the front door.
Bravo 460 now.
40 minutes. 5.
Show me clear, me in the area, Tom Brown. Zero to 1. You'll be in the area. We're 400 out your way. 10-4.
Roger, mean. Tag earlier call. Charlie 230, 10-4.
If you're ready. Private street back there so they can come out.
Somebody just did. They're coming through now.
George 5305.
Archie, you want me to drop 2017 off by the mechanics for the ramp? 10-4, ma'am. I'm on my way.
30 is 2003.
Delta 430, copy plate.
Where's the black, white, and Hispanic?
So 330, go ahead.
Frank John 05272.
Her height and weight.
John 0.
Negative, ma'am. Ma'am, do you have a social on file? The mother said she gave info, all the information.
Trauma
Well,
injury.
still have height and weight.
5633 Grand Lake Circle.
Do you know if it's skin tone light, medium, or dark?
Circle. 68-year-old
Light.
male.
Eye color and eye color.
Believes he cut an artery on his hand. Dispatch at 1810.
Ma'am. Are you okay?
Delta 330.
Yeah, all around, last name Robles, first name Rosendo, 23 of 95.
4.
The NLC on a volunteer.
2238.
He is 29 all the way around. He has a DL Class C that expires in 2020. It's current and clear.
Seniors of age.
Alright, 36 southbound in Galahad.
42960, adult female in custody at 2239. Case numbers on the call is going to be 133, 0133. Alright, thank you. Shirt, yellow short, supposed to be there. Has a CTW at the location. UID and intoxicated.
Delta 465, copy Henry Zebra George 9744.
Child, 4410 Ramsey, 4420 Ramsey Street. It's going to be a 7 or 8 year-old. Charlie 3, Charlie 4. Son was on the phone with the mother, and now he's gone missing. He's going to be 7 to 8 years of age. They're stating that he was possibly taken by the mother.
Anita, 4517 Anita. Female slipped from the floor, she is now unconscious, unresponsive. 55-year-old female. Work up EMS 12242. Unconscious call at 4517 Anita. Where the female slipped and fell unconscious.
Lincoln 16.
Anybody's breathing.
I'm 10-4 on that, man. He's about to get off, right?
blue basketball shorts and no shoes, stating that the child was outside on the phone and an SUV pulled up and now the child is missing.
On whatever name they say the mom is.
10-4, I'm just waiting for the mother's name. They're advising that she lives at the Lou-like apartment, so we're still waiting for the apartment number also. 9-10.
You can put me in the area for that suspicious person.
80.
Okay, 40.
40.
47.
Location?
Yeah, Waterburg, Staples, Baldwin. 320, it's going 340. 140.
Color light, fair, medium, dark.
Light.
Color, eye color.
Hair color is brown, eye color brown. And then hair color, she has red highlights towards the bottom. The open garage door. Can you copy plate?
0.
And shelter 3.
Copy plate, George,
Long squad, left eyebrow and braces. Any medical condition?
7-3.
No static on that.
Can we catch the name?
Random service return.
310 welfare check.
10 for mom advised the pink Coach purse.
To call PD. There's no other information. Swerving almost at a stop sign. Watching towards Flower Block. 1814. Bravo 350, both hands in the area. 19th Street.
For your time, whatever you take, please.
You're welcome.
If you want, they can come back to our location and we can get the additional information we need. Room 14, I'm clear. Background statistic.
87-180-801-2887.
Take a device. First name Destiny, date of birth 10-20-1994. 7972.
Out of San Antonio. That's suspended search for Houston.
380, 10-4. Happy.
Trying to get more info.
310-4, I'm not going to respond to that address then.
We're just trying to make contact with mom, make sure she's alright, make sure there's no custody issues. We're sure that she's going to get some additional info from her. Information still coming in, Bravo 3.
Lieutenant to the DRPs and the subjects out here chasing them with the clear.
Present.
Show me clear.
60-10-4 clear.
Bravo 50 clear.
50 clear.
Charlie 430 to Charlie 370.
Matt. Goodwill Digger. He's way off deep end now. Yeah, we're down 624 right here by this Lone Star title place.
Saying that she left her boyfriend's place off the navigation.
Madam President,
Democratic leader,
are you informed?
we are.
I ask unanimous consent the quorum be dispensed with.
Charlie 455.
Without objection.
Now, Madam President, in the 3 days since the President returned from his humiliating display of obsequiousness in Helsinki, he has offered numerous explanations for his behavior. First, He said the media was too focused on the negative, and that his summit with Putin was a great success. Then, admitting there was in fact a problem, he attempted to walk back some of his comments. But he even couldn't commit to that, ad-libbing that other people could also be responsible for interfering in the 2016 elections. A mere 24 hours later, the president was back to claiming that it wasn't his fault, the media was biased. And then astoundingly, the president hadn't learned his lesson, because astoundingly, when he asked yesterday whether Russia was still attacking our election system, the president replied, no. This was, of course, followed by yet another implausible clarification in which, surprise, his press secretary told reporters that's not what the president meant. Although when you actually looked at the tape, it was clear as a bell it was what the president meant. He was saying that Russia was not still attacking our election system. Once again, disbelieving all of the fine men and women who labor quietly, diligently in our intelligence agencies who have reported this. The constantly shifting, insincere, and thoroughly unconvincing explanations for the president's performance reveal that his president and his team do not understand the depth of President Trump's blunders with Putin. And frankly, any post hoc clarification cannot substitute or repair the president's failure to confront Putin face to face. All his walkbacks, which then get undone, but all his walkbacks are done in the wrong place at the wrong time. Where's this man who prides himself on being strong, afraid to say these things to Putin, and he has to wait till he's 6,000 miles away to say them? Unbelievable. One of the most stunning things about the summit was the president's openness to a request by President Putin to question former United States Ambassador to Moscow, Michael McCall, and other Americans. In Helsinki, the president described the request as part of, quote, an incredible offer, unquote. The president's spokeswoman was asked about it yesterday. She confirmed the president and his team would discuss it. That President Trump would even consider handing over a former U.S. ambassador to Putin and his cronies for interrogation is bewildering. No president should have the power to gift-wrap American citizens, let alone former ambassadors, to our known adversaries. How can President Trump and his team spend even a moment considering Putin's request? How can they equate the democracy and rule of law and system of open and fair prosecution we have in this country with what Putin does? Just amazing. This president every day demeans the United States. So many Americans are saying they're ashamed to have him as their leader when he behaves like this. Certainly, if the president agreed to such a request, Congress must do everything in its power to block it. There can be no room for debate, no room for discussion. We must be clear and clear quickly. So this morning, Senator Menendez, Senator Schatz, and I plan to offer a simple resolution that states, quote, it is the sense of Congress that the United States should refuse to make available any current or former diplomat, civil servant, political appointee, law enforcement official, or member of the armed forces of the United States for questioning by the government of Vladimir Putin. This body must agree on the importance of protecting our ambassadors. We should pass it today, not wait. Not show any equivocation. This incredible offer, as President Trump so casually and incorrectly called it, raises other serious questions. What else has President Trump agreed to behind closed doors? What else has he discussed with President Putin? President Trump and President Putin met for nearly 2 hours behind closed doors, no one else present but a translator, and hardly anyone knows what was said. Has Secretary Pompeo been briefed on that private, behind closed doors meeting? Nobody knows. He hasn't said so. Does our military know if President Trump made commitments about our nuclear arsenal? Who knows? And Secretary Mattis hasn't said whether he's been briefed. Do we know if President Trump made commitments about the security of Israel or Syria or North Korea or any of the other issues the President said he discussed with Putin? It is utterly amazing that no one knows what was said. This is a democracy. If our president makes agreements with one of our leading, if not our leading adversary, his cabinet has to know about it, and so do the American people. These questions and more need a full and complete before Congress in an open setting as soon as possible. That's why I've called on the Republican leadership to demand that Secretary of State Pompeo, Ambassador Huntsman, and crucially, the translator present at the closed-door session be made to testify before the Senate. They should come immediately.
Go ahead and notify DPS.
Now. What are our Republican friends looking for? Because, Madam President, the events of this week raise serious questions about the President's ability to responsibly and safely conduct this nation's foreign policy, about his ability and willingness to defend the United States and its citizens, about his very ability to govern in so many areas. Confronted with these grave questions, I believe the Senate must act to show our country's resolve, to punish Putin for his interference, and never allow such a thing to happen again, to ensure the President is doing what's necessary to stand up for American interests. I have proposed, many of my colleagues on this side of the aisle have proposed, a bunch of things we can do right now to take action in the wake of President Trump's indefensible summit with President Putin. Democrats are not in the majority. We don't control the floor. We need our Republican colleagues who control the Senate floor to join us on these measures. The lack of action, not just words, the lack of action by our Republican colleagues, stunning and deeply disappointing. Not just to Democrats, but to all people. Since Monday, sadly, we haven't seen movement from our colleagues in the majority. Just more slow walking. I understand my friends, Senator Coons and Flake, are working on introducing a resolution to support the consensus of our intelligence agencies and to request congressional oversight. We're all for it. I hope it passes with unanimous consent that it deserves. But my Republican friends can and must do more. Actions, not just resolutions and statements of disapproval. We shouldn't need this resolution. The things asked for in this resolution should have been happening already. And the burden of patriotism, of protecting America's security is on Leader McConnell's shoulders. I know he has a difficult situation. I know he has a president who can sometimes be vindictive. But the bottom line is, our country's security, our country's direction, our country's honor demands it. We need to bring Secretary of State Pompeo, Ambassador Huntsman, and the rest of President Trump's national security team from Helsinki, including the translator who was present in the one-on-one meetings with Putin right here before the Congress in open session, so we all know what happened. We need to pass legislation to protect Special Counsel Mueller. There's bipartisan legislation already, passed out of the Judiciary Committee under Senator Grassley's leadership and support. It's on the floor.
Delta
What
480, I'll show
is
you
our
to
leader,
a
a
disturbance at
Republican leader,
Staples in
waiting for?
Louisiana. It's going to be a female advising. There's a male at the location.
We need to see the president's tax
returns. It's going to be at the Q Market.
The common practice of all presidents in recent memory, but needed far more now, because one of the most logical explanations of the president's obsequious and almost inexplicable actions towards President Putin is that Putin has something over on him. Maybe it would be revealed in the tax returns, and if nothing's there, the president should have no problem releasing them. We need to implement sanctions against Russia, not weaken them. We need to demand that Putin hand over the 12 Russians indicted for election interference. We need to harden our election infrastructure so that what happened in 2016 never happens again. These are all common sense measures. Most of them have bipartisan support already. They will accomplish for America what the president has been unwilling or unable to do. My Republican colleagues refuse to pursue any, if not all, of these items. They are de facto consenting to the president's capitulation in Helsinki. They cannot stand by. The American people won't work. Finally, Madam President, on health care. Ever since Republicans were handed the keys to both houses of Congress and the White House after the 2016 election, they've engaged in a protracted campaign of sabotage against our health care system. Premiums are going up, coverage is going down, and it's all falling in the laps of our Republican colleagues in the House and Senate. President Trump and congressional Republicans proposed legislation that would have gutted Medicaid, allowed insurers to charge more, and deny coverage just because a person got sick, excluding critical benefits, imposing lifetime or annual limits on care. Under the cover of night, Republicans dismantled the health care's coverage requirement without putting anything in its place. The Trump administration canceled a federal program that helped low-income customers afford insurance and expanded the availability of junk insurance plans that sucker Americans in with low premiums but then hardly cover anything. And people are saying when they have these plans, why did I even buy insurance? But they would do it. Now, worse yet, the administration has directed the Justice Department to stop defending the constitutionality of protections for Americans with pre-existing medical conditions, turning its back on the most popular and humane advancement in our healthcare system over the decade. I'd say to my Republican friends here, go to your constituents, ask if someone has someone sick in their family. You'll get a lot of hands. And then ask them if they should be excluded from gaining insurance. Health insurance to help that sick member. See how many support these ideas. They try to do them in the dark of night. It's not going to work. In August, we Democrats are going to be talking about this over and over again.
CTW and the protective order.
It'll probably be the most important factor in the 2018 elections.
The female involved at Maryland and St. Andrews.
From the taking away of health care. Imagine going back to the days when a mother with a child who has cancer can no longer find affordable health care for her daughter. When hard-working Americans who fall on hard times are made to suffer, denied health care coverage precisely because they need it. How wrong, how backward, how immoral. Well, that's where President Trump wants to take us, and that's where all of our Republican colleagues seem to be following. Later this morning, actually right now, a group of Democrats are announcing about how we plan to fight back against this lawsuit that the Trump administration has put in place and preserve the protections for up to 130 million non-elderly Americans with pre-existing conditions. The elderly, fortunately, since we still have Medicare, despite efforts by some on the other side to cut it back, are protected. As millions of Americans watch their health care costs go up, as they read about the news about the Republican latest effort to undo health care protections. They fear for the future and wonder who in Washington will be fighting for them. In November, they'll have a chance to vote for a party who will check the president's dangerous health care sabotage, who will work to bring down costs, improve quality, who will never undermine the protections of Americans with pre-existing conditions, and will pull to the response to my colleague's announcement of our lawsuit. I yield the floor.
About 16. Just wanted to let you know that Linda Reed is ready whenever you are.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. I guess I lost it on it. Walmart.
Morning business is closed. Under the previous order, the Senate will proceed to executive session to resume consideration of the following nomination, which the clerk will report.
Nomination, the Judiciary, Ryan Wesley Bounds of Oregon to the United States Circuit Judge for the Ninth Circuit.
Charlie 325 arrived.
Charlie 325 arrived. Charlie 270 crash number is 5816 5816. 19.
Yes, sir. Trip number 108-8392. AT's going to voicemail, sir.
Victor Tom 2599. Unit 2, John X-ray Henry 3159.
The only other column showing at that address is a signal 4 at 8 a.m. today from Charlie 125. There's no name or anything running it.
Ten Bravo 450, know where the unit's available for disturbance in progress at Hollywood Trayway, Hollywood Trayway.
368 westbound, David Nor 8, David 924.
Max Shark, 10 Blue Jean.
300, 350 westbound 44. Be on respiration 5. Mark later 4. Date of birth 4. Cassandra, date of birth 11/30.
Runaway. Last name is Rodriguez. Robert Ocean, David Robert Ida George Union Edward Zebra. First name is Annalisa. Spelling Adam Nora Nora Adam Lincoln Ida Zebra Adam. Repeating Adam Nora Nora Adam Lincoln Ida Zebra Adam. Her date of birth 08/03/2008.
Show us available. Second level, we're available.
On either one of them. Stand by for the runaway.
Or I have a number from Ms. Vargas if you can copy.
2009 Chevy Tahoe. There was no physical. It was just a verbal. Cleo 2. Cleo and Morgan.
We headed to the area of Cleo and Morgan, 10-4.
Arrest warrant for litter and solid waste. She's negative 29 CCIC and CIC, and that ID card is valid until 2020.
Mr. Date of birth to a peace officer. The warrant date was March 1st of this year. Shows to have a... We're going to go with ID card expired in 2013. This was eligible. Address of 721.
4082-9333.
4, do you know if her skin tone is light, medium, or dark?
Keeling Drive, 7502 Keeling Drive, close declining contact.
470.
Is supposed to be attending Richard Milbourne Academy in the 10th grade.
10-4, and her hair color and eye color?
Brown and brown.
You know if she's affiliated with any gangs?
Code 1 Northwest, 0.0.
1 Northwest, 0.0, 10-4.
When do we know if she was born here in Texas?
I believe she was born in Corpus Christi.
10-4, here in B using case number 0139.
317 on her supply, 1837.
Any other miscellaneous on her?
Was 5-8, Leopard, so 5-8. I just got your message.
2309 Air, Department 1, contact Dave Lisa, elevation.
Morning. 2994. Double 350, you get it?
10-4, was coming.
Go ahead.
Gun 440, you show me clear.
310, I'm arriving at that call on Staples.
310 arriving at call Staples, 10-4. Charlie 410, I'll show you going out with Charlie 310.
She advised that everything is calm and she was requesting to cancel.
310 arrived. It's going to be 2 male suspects by the front door, called in by a passerby.
Charlie 310, you can cancel the other unit.
10-4, Charlie 430, sure clear.
Coleman, a white female, pink tank.
40 early.
Yeah. Hard Weber, RP decline contact.
John Sam Henry, 3270.
Disturbance in progress. Contact John Ruth with girlfriend Jennifer Molina, 35 years of age. Female kicked in the window to get inside. She's wearing a red shirt, black shorts. Gonna be inside the living room.
27 Class C, Sky 2020, eligible out of 9509 Snow Finch, Circle the City.
Is on the ground.
Airline. It's going to be a gray Grand Prix, King Victor 6378.
Yeah, what do y'all have out there?
Other vehicles off. Patrol for 1841.
Well, the one we got is just MC warrants. This guy, the one I got, has got like 8 MC warrants, and the other one's got 1. But they were on their way over to that call.
Yeah, I contacted the operator on 1050. That individual that got upset has calmed down. He did it before intersection. I'm headed there also.
10-4, this is person Gallagher and Weber. Gallagher and Weber, RPD, decline contact. Delta 330 clear.
70 clear, 10-4.
I can repeat declining contact. It's going to be a black.
Did you create a call for transport for Warren Weber?
Be advised, Bravo 330 is coming from the substation.
Suspect body in the Surfside, 3202 Surfside. Requesting a callback reference burglaries in the area. We have previously spoken to several Vela. And is that suspect?
Checked.
Out of service.
420.
Those MCs on my call, can you send them
with
to
a male in a blue shirt, light complexion, with dark hair. Has been there about 30 minutes. Advise the reporting party that he lives there, but she's saying she's never seen him before.
Oh, 4 a.m.?
4 a.m., yes, sir.
To ask her if she wanted to report or something, but she got extremely irate and said she's going to call somebody else or whatever.
Caller. Boy Charles, 4603. In Harbor Freight 10-4.
Turn over to CDC.
I'll actually be on the
name is
3-6 access side of the
Fielder.
6 access on the side of Harbor
Felder.
Freight 10-4.
First name Destiny.
Charlie 366.
12/24/1980.
2360 clear. Step 20 Alpha.
Area, call back for a better location. Be advised it was a residence across from the churches next to Popeye.
Bravo 360 routing.
85, your case number is 30003. Crash number is Charles 1805735. Charles 1805735.
Closing time, go ahead. Norma, DD come out there, 058. David 4240.
857 on that call.
Charles and David 4240.
That's like Lamb, right?
420 arriving. Charlie 470 unable to locate. What location they call?
If they wanted contact.
4 is requesting.
Nora, I think it's agent or something.
5102, Adam George Edward Nora, 10-4.
Bravo 3, start us another unit. Alright, it's going to be at the Palms Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, ESU 6007, crosses with Holly. We have an elderly female, conscious breathing, feeling pain. Work outside dispatch at 16.
It's going to be an Oklahoma plate. Charles Lincoln Henry 617.
30-4. Code 1 shoreline, beginning mileage 0.1. Code 4, 37.
On that, the county. Going to be for stuff.
We just received a call from an RP saying there's a Hispanic male in the location.
First name Andrea. Adam Nora. David Robert. Edward Adam. Edward 12-15-81.
10-4. Domel custody at 1218. Case numbers 40004.
We can go ahead and Adam. We're going to go ahead and cut him loose
Get over.
because we can't get anybody to come out here to check him out. But he's a gang member, that's all. Okay, 10-4. You added him to the call?
46 Hampshire, 46 Hampshire, ESS 9003, constant with antenna, 74-year-old male, needing assistance, information still coming in, work on fire, dispatch at 019.
29. Coming.
Do I need another
Robert.
unit? Sky King.
Last name Charles Eugene Mary. Mary Ida Nora George Sam. Date of birth September 21st, 52.
We go take a chance. It'll be Old Brownsville at Bear. Boy John 75264.
There. 30, Shogun Alpha Assault Mountain Progress, 4141 South Staples, positions Premier, 4141 South Staples, positions Premier, Unit 106, contact at Gail Garcia.
50, showing up for suspicious vehicle at 1220 Agnes, 1220 Agnes. Charlie 250, Charlie 260 for a disturbance in progress. Can be contacted if needed. 5855 Everhart, 5855 Everhart. Yes. Arriving shoreline, ending mileage 1.8.
1.8.
Wolf on the call for guys. Charlie 260 is on a 7. Hold off on the call.
Charlie 360, your event number is 1808013010. That's 1808013010.
Call taker's trying to call back and see if they can get more information. 445, Charlie.
Only thing I showed was animal hit by a vehicle.
Not eligible. DL expired 2008. Address is going to be 438 Airport Road, this city. And he had an ID card that expired June of this year, showing not eligible as well. Address 450 Airport.
Charlie 360, Charlie 370, check and welfare. Charlie 355 was click free on mobile.
907 for 1044.
Suicide jumper is going to be on the Harbor Bridge, southbound side, 2501 Highway 181. 2501 Highway 181 will be on the southbound side. Unit is 1003. Have a male subject, white shirt and blue jeans, threatening to jump. Do have PD en route, stage for St. Street. Off EMS 1 at 027.
With that phone number for the last couple months, did you want us to send a unit or
Be advised, we got the first two of the bridge. Males on the support team. Still trying to get an apartment number.
Driver, Highway 358 eastbound in Waldron. Highway 358 eastbound in Waldron. It's going to be a black Cadillac passenger car occupied by 4 females. License plate of Sam Zebra Frank 5141. Sam Zebra Frank 5141. Driving reckless. Brake checking people. Last seen exiting Flower Bluff. Patrol 3 and 4 at 0030.
Sam Adam, Boy Adam. Excuse me, Boy Robert, Ida Adam, Nora. Date of birth 3/2/1983.
Yeah,
Gonzalez with an S. Person, 11 Guadalupe Station, date of birth 5/11/54.
We did get another update saying the mail is coming down. He's going to be closer to the aquarium.
The aquarium side.
Possibilities for 27, both out of 3. The silver Dodge SUV with a broken taillight that was swerving. Last seen on possibly going towards Corpus.
013016.
324 Charlie
10-4, I would advise. We're Charlie 10-4, 312 Echo, street player. For a vehicle on the side of the roadway, better description of the vehicle, at least for a male with a flashlight, trying to pull over vehicles. 5425 SPID at Moore Plaza, contact to Miguel Trejo.
Charlie 455, Southwest.
Alright. RP is going to be in a white Nissan Pathfinder, pulled into Moore Plaza in front of Office Depot. Suspect vehicle is a black Dodge Charger. Sideswipe the RP. License plate of King John Henry 2800. Continued eastbound on SPID. 345. 470, I'm clear, and I'll take that.
Were we able to get any, an apartment number?
Area. We're going to be checking the area. They said he took off running and yelling.
More units copy? 468, entrance is confirmed on 2001 Oldsmobile, 4-door, silver in color, to an Armino Garcia at 19600 Hickory Lane in New Caney, Texas. Expired November 2018.
210-10 form.
One pending call. Suspicious person, 3606 WL Breeding Drive.
Model 320, who is the original? 468 comes back to 2007 Honda, 4 doors, maroon in color, to Bertha Alini Sanchez Alvarado at 4930 Curtis Clark, our city, expires December 2018. Go ahead with 2937.
Last name is going to be Lermos, Lemus. First name is going to be spelling Edward Victor, Edward Robert, Adam Robert, David Ocean, 328 of 98. 140, go ahead. I have an adult female in my unit I'll be transporting to an address close to the freeway. I'll give you the numbers when I arrive. My beginning mileage is 68. Female courtesy ride to an address on Treyway at 003. Check the plate, no need to return. This is Young Boy 1883.
Static David Young Boy 1883.
The 465.
465?
Yeah, we're going to be going over a little fence here. It's going to be by Cargo Dock 9. There's a ship, Apollo Bulker, that's docked over here. We think we can hear his voice back that way. I guess we can let the port PD and port authorities know we're out here.
Staples, he has 2 individual females arguing on his bus, sir. Male 328 98 55 135 Brown over Brown at 7010 Larmine Lane, our city, is eligible, expires 2022.
Give me a description. I have no, he has no identification on it. What's the legal, prison, how tall and color hair and stuff.
135 Brown over Brown. I can run it with a picture if you want me to do that, and I can email it to you.
We'll do that, please.
The fall at 3901 Panama Drive. 3901 Panama Drive. It's going to be a male at the location.
Before you get up on mobile, nothing can
Comments are still updating. Work on fire dispatch at 1856.
4. Charlie 3. Yes. Taking a woofer.
Female's having a hard time breathing.
Forest medic female having a hard time breathing.
We got another fresh pot of coffee at the shop. Extra straight. Austin Bled.
Behind George Charles Mary, 9605.
Here's the other unit.
High school student said he graduated in 2017.
4313 Charlie 345 10-4.
High school student graduated in 2017. Probably 240 lab.
Linos?
215. Everardo Linos.
3654.
Turn that picture.
Gonna Rev 4 4, black and color. And LaRon Freeman, 712, Cheyenne.
144, he is a graduate of King High School.
2-4. Okay, he was unconscious?
Where he's not conscious and breathing.
He had a plate. Didn't cancel engine signal.
6 will show you clear.
7.7 at 0043. Charlie 470, license plate.
Senator from Arkansas.
I'd like to take this opportunity to express my support for 20,000 men and women of immigration and customs enforcement. They work hard every day to keep drugs off our streets, to stop human trafficking, to protect our communities from gang violence, and yes, to enforce our immigration laws. Theirs can be a thankless job, but they do it with courage, dedication, and professionalism. So I, for one, want to say thank you. And I'd like to point out the overwhelming support that House Republicans showed for ICE yesterday, which stands in stark contrast to the contemptible display put on by House Democrats. On a simple resolution, merely expressing support for the men and women of ICE, only 18 Democrats voted yes. 8 skipped the vote, 34 voted no, and 133 Democrats voted present, which is the same thing, isn't it? That's a pretty sad state of affairs. 34 Democrats condemn the men and women of ICE, and 141 Democrats don't even have the courage of their conviction. They don't even have the guts to vote yes or no. Because we all know Democrats, in their heart of hearts, want to abolish ICE. The way they tell it, ICE is a rogue agency driven by hatred and spite to tear apart communities. Congressman Pocan of Wisconsin says ICE is ripping at the moral fabric of our nation. Congresswoman Hayapal of Washington says ICE is out of control. Congressman Blumenauer of Oregon calls ICE toxic. And the senior senator from Massachusetts says we should replace ICE with something that reflects our values, which I suppose means that the 20,000 men and women of ICE don't measure up to the professor's definition of our values. But I have to ask, isn't the rule of law one of those values? Because ICE's job is simply to enforce the law and to protect our citizens from crime. In the last year alone, ICE arrested more than 125,000 illegal aliens with criminal records. Those illegal aliens were responsible for more than 80,000 DUIs, 76,000 dangerous drug offenses, 48,000 assaults, 11,000 weapon offenses, 5,000 sexual assaults, 2,000 kidnappings, and 1,800 homicides. Yes, that's right. Almost 2,000 souls still be on this earth, but for those illegal alien criminals. ICE's investigative arm also seized more than 980,000 pounds of narcotics last year. These men and women are on the front lines of the war on drugs and the opioid crisis in particular. Do the Democrats really believe we should put all these efforts on hold? This call to abolish ICE is so irresponsible that even some Democrats, those not running for president or beholden to the radical left, are speaking out against it. Jay Johnson, President Obama's former Secretary of Homeland Security, has said it's not a serious policy proposal to compromise public safety. He's pointed out that even those who oppose the Vietnam War wouldn't have demanded that we abolish the Department of Defense. Eric Holder, President Obama's former Attorney General, has said, I don't think that substantively or politically that makes a great deal of sense, calling it a gift to Republicans. And Sarah Saldana, who ran ICE under President Obama, has called it nonsensical.
Do you have anyone else in route? You can
perhaps the most insightful comment came from former Senator Joe Lieberman of Connecticut. He said, this makes no sense unless you no longer want any rules on immigration
I'm
or
doing,
customs
the
to be
standard
enforced.
70, 65.
And that, I would contend, is the whole point. Those who want to abolish ICE really just want open borders.
I'm behind him and pull over.
The very bill House Democrats have introduced to abolish ICE doesn't even say which federal agency should assume its critical law enforcement duties. They just leave it up to a commission. And the reason I would submit is that they don't really care. Their obsession with open borders is so great that they are willing to risk public safety to achieve it.
Upriver.
These irresponsible politicians should know
following? You need to be on the call?
they aren't worthy to lead the brave, hardworking men and women of ICE. These officers are just trying to do their job and to keep us safe. So on behalf of the grateful nation, I conclude by again extending them my deepest thanks.
03-10-3-10-4.
Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Yeah, 14, he's going eastbound on Corpus Christi.
Minority Whip.
Mr. President, I join the Senator from Arkansas in commending those who are involved in law enforcement, risking their lives for the safety of this nation at all levels, federal, state, and local. They put the badges on every single day and risk their lives for us, and that's a fact. And within the Department of Homeland Security, there are men and women who are conscientious in trying to keep America safe. I commend them as well. I believe that they are doing their job as they understand it, and they're risking their lives many times to achieve it. To not only stop the illegal flow of drugs into our country, but to deter crime, to ferret out criminals where possible, and they risk their lives to achieve that goal. I have not joined in a call for the abolition of ICE, but I will not join in a call for the adoration of ICE because of one specific issue. The zero-tolerance policy of the Trump administration resulted in our agents, the Department of Homeland Security, forcibly separating children from their parents. Forcibly separating up to 3,000 children from their parents. I saw some of those kids separated by that agency. They were toddlers and infants. Some were being held by the care workers that I happened to visit up in Chicago. Little babies, taken from their mothers.
Charlie and Bravo units, do you want me to see if you can take one in Delta?
Children 5 and 6 years old. Separated by this agency under the President's zero-tolerance policy. Up to 3,000 of them, according to the administration's own estimates. Had that happened before? Only rarely. But it became the policy of this administration until there was such an uproar in the United States and around the world that President Trump reversed his position on zero tolerance. But reversing the position did not return the children to their parents. It took federal courts to do that, and one in particular in San Diego, where the judge called the representatives of ICE, Health and Human Services, and all the other agencies involved in these children being removed forcibly from their parents, and gave them deadlines to return the children to their parents. And it was then that we discovered something about this agency. It was then that we discovered that they didn't keep a record of the parents and kids. If you place an order online at Amazon or some other source, and the next day want to check on the status of your order, you use your tracking number and they'll tell you where your package is. There was no tracking number when it came to these kids. If you decide that you're going to order a pizza, and it seems to take a little too long, and you call the pizza parlor, they can generally tell you where the messenger is, or the delivery person. And the same thing's true in so many other areas. So why then did this agency, which my colleagues are now coming to the floor claiming such great praise for, ignore the obvious? This agency, the Department of Homeland Security, ended up setting free 3,000 children into care facilities around the United States of America and didn't keep records of their parents. When we asked them several weeks ago downstairs, all the agencies, including ICE, it was referred to by the senator from Arkansas, we asked them, okay, let's get down to basics. How many kids are we talking about? They wouldn't give us a number. How many kids under the age of 5? Those are the ones that we have a deadline to reunite under the federal court order in San Diego. They couldn't give us a number. All right, then how many parents can you identify who actually had the kids taken away? ICE said we can identify 10.
1902 to 1907.
10 parents, 3,000 kids. I'm not making this up, Mr. President. This is exactly what they said. They said we have 10 parents in custody. Those are the ones we can identify. 2 weeks passed and I had no briefing this week. The numbers are now more complete. 2,500 kids separated from their parents, spread around the United States, and some 1,800 parents. What about the difference? What happened to 700 parents who lost their children?
Hey there, welcome to Farm Craft. In this video, I'm going to turn a bunch of these into one of these.
Does that sound
reasonable? What's the big deal? You're making this piece when you've got all these other pieces to make the whole gun. Well, the lower, or the frame of a gun, is the gun. This is the piece that's regulated. This is the piece with the serial number on it. The only thing here in the eyes of the government that is a gun is the lower. The rest of this is just parts. You can order them online. They'll deliver them right to your door. No questions asked.
I'll start by melting down a bunch of aluminum cans in my foundry furnace. I actually use 265 cans in this build, and then pouring the molten aluminum into a muffin tin to make ingots, which gave me a good supply of aluminum. I need to pour the molten aluminum into a mold that is the right size and shape to make my AR-15 lower. In order to do this, I need a pattern that I will make out of wood. Here I am starting with a couple pieces of plywood. This is a split pattern, which is the reason I glued newspaper in between, and that aids in the molding process, as you will see later.
Pediatricians have come forward, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and said what we have done is institutional abuse of children. This separation is not just another day in the life of this 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old. This separation is something that is causing trauma within their own minds. Have you read the stories about the reunification? Where some of the parents come back, finally get the children, and the children...
The other is through the magazine. And then the last one,
they don't quite understand what
is
just
here
happened.
Through where the stock threads
They think
on.
the parent might have just decided to give them up. And there they were alone and by themselves at that tender age. Can you imagine that for your children or your grandchildren? I can't. We did it as part of official government policy of the Trump administration under zero tolerance. So when some of us come to the floor to question the actions, the conduct, the management of ICE, we have good reason to do it. And I hope that for the people within that agency who are doing their jobs conscientiously, that we can at least be honest in saying that this policy is one which doesn't deserve praise and doesn't deserve our adoration on the floor of the United States Senate or the U.S. House. President, I yield the floor.
Adult male in my unit is going to be transporting them to Baltimore. Go 1 SPID eastbound 10-4.
I'm going to clarify that arrest in the area of the Whiskey River.
I'm from Vermont.
Thank you. President, I rise to speak about a matter of extraordinary importance for the future of American democracy and, in fact, democracies all over the world. At the Helsinki summit on Monday, President Trump embarrassed our country, undermined American values, and openly sided with Russia's authoritarian leader, Vladimir Putin, against U.S. intelligence community's unanimous assessment that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election.
I can see it in the vents, too.
Senator John McCain is right when he said it was, and I quote, one of the most disgraceful performances
The aluminum actually
by
went
American
through the
presidents
vents,
in
which is
America.
fine, because those are just tiny little
The
holes that
damage
penetrate.
inflicted by President
It
Trump's
really filled the mold.
naivete, egotism, false equivalence, and sympathy for autocrats is difficult to calculate. But it is clear that the summit in Helsinki
was a tragic mistake, end quote. That's not Bernie Sanders talking.
So a little bit of an issue here where the core spout was. I got some shrinkage and it pulled, made some cracks there, and you can see there's some voids inside where this whole thing, and there's a slight indentation right there. This whole mass of metal right there was contracting. So I'm just going to proceed with it. If I've got a major defect there that I can't machine out, and it's going to affect the function, then I'll weld it. So my first step on machining is just going to be to clean up the edges, so that I can get a good grip in the lathe, and then I'm going to work on making this portion. I'm going to thread it like this is threaded, and then I'll machine it to that profile.
And then in an interview last night, Trump changed his answer yet again and acknowledged in the neatest way possible that yes, Russia meddled in our election, and as the leader of Russia, Vladimir Putin is responsible. Well, this is a step forward, but it is not remotely sufficient.
So this here is one of the most challenging parts of this bill.
Tweet the president will release tomorrow.
That's where the
he
stock
seems to
thread's
come up
on.
With a
So
new
why did I make this so
response
long?
every few hours.
It's because I'm going to use this part out here with a step rest.
Unprecedented situation of a president who, for whatever
reason, long because I needed a good, solid attachment point so that it would be rigid. Once I get the threads in, then I will mill that off.
He really doesn't understand what is happening, and that's possible. Or he is under Russian influence because of compromising information they may have on him, or because he is ultimately more sympathetic to Russia's authoritarian oligarchic form of government than he is to American democracy. Whatever the reason, Congress must act now. Democrats must act. Republicans must act if we are serious about preserving American democracy. We must demand, and I know this is a radical idea, but demand that the President of the United States represent the interests of the American people and not Russia. Now let us be as clear as we can be. Russia has been interfering not only in U.S. elections,
so here's the
but
setup.
in the elections
I've got this set
of other
perfectly
democracies,
square to the axis of the
United
work.
Kingdom,
My compound set at 29.5 degrees, and I will feed in, pulling this way to engage.
Thank you, and I want to
threading
thank
tool.
my friend, Senator from Vermont, for this outstanding resolution. It is a resolution I don't see who can object. Who can object? He asked for 5 things in this resolution. That our government accept the assessment of our own intelligence committees about Russia's interference, that we move aggressively to protect our election systems, that the sanctions that this body passed, 98-2, finally be implemented by the Trump administration, that there be no interference in Mr. Mueller's investigation, and that there must be cooperation. Who in America would object to that? Maybe a small group of hard-right ideologues, but no one else. Who in this body would object to it? This is an outstanding resolution. Now, I know my friend from Vermont would agree with me. We need action in addition to resolutions, but this is an excellent start. And I would urge all of my colleagues to support this full-heartedly. Our country is at risk. The senator from Vermont is sounding a clarion call and saying in a bipartisan way, we should strengthen our country, not weaken it as the president has done over the last week. And I hope that this will get unanimous support from every member of this body, whether they be Democrat, Independent, Republican, whether they be liberal, moderate, or conservative. You love America, care about our security, support this resolution.
I don't have a break.
I thank my colleagues.
So I'm going to make one out of drill.
Democratic leader for his strong efforts on this enormously important issue. And I just want to reiterate, this really is not a Democratic resolution. If there is any resolution that should be bipartisan, this is it. My Republican colleagues believe in democracy. I know that.
We believe in democracy, and together we and the American people must make it clear that we will not allow Russia or any other country on earth to undermine our democracy. And let us be very clear that Russia has not just been interfering in U.S. elections, but in elections of other democracies around the world, United Kingdom, France, Germany, to name just a few countries. Russia's goal is to advance its own interests by weakening the transatlantic alliance of democracies that arose after World War II, while also inflaming internal divisions in our country as well as other countries. We should also be clear that this interference is directed from the very highest levels of the Russian government. Last week, Special Counsel Mueller announced a set of indictments of 12 members of Russia's military intelligence service, the GRU. There can be no doubt that given the nature of the Russian government, Vladimir Putin was directly involved in this effort. But our concern is not only what has already happened.
There's a casting defect
in
there. I think I'm okay if I get into anything that looks too bad. I may have to do some welding or epoxying or something.
What happened in 2016 was an outrage, but we have got to make sure it does not happen in 2018 and future elections. Last week, Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates, a former Republican U.S. Senator, raised the alarm on growing cyber attacks threats against the United States in a range of areas, not just elections, including federal, state, and local government agencies, the military, business, and academia, saying the situation is at a quote-unquote critical point. Coates said Russia is, quote, the most aggressive foreign actor, no question, and they continue their efforts to undermine our democracy, end of quote. Coates compared the warning signs to those the United States faced ahead of the September 11th terrorist attacks. This is a clear and present threat to our democratic system and those of our allies. Ultimately, of course, we want a peaceful relationship with Russia. We do not want to return to the Cold War, and we surely do not seek any type of military conflict. But at the same time, we must be very clear that we oppose what Putin is doing, both in terms of his foreign policy and his domestic policy. On foreign policy, we will not accept Russian interfering in the elections of democratic countries, stoking political tensions by promoting hatred and suspicion of immigrants and minorities, and trying to undermine long-standing alliances with democratic allies. In 2014, in violation of international law, Russia invaded neighboring Ukraine and annexed the Crimea. Russia has assassinated political opponents abroad, most recently through the use of poison in Salisbury, England. The British government concluded in that attack that it was most likely carried out by Russia's military intelligence service. Domestically, Putin has undermined democracy in Russia, crushing free speech, jailing political opponents, harassing and assassinating journalists who criticize him, and increasing persecution of ethnic and religious minorities. On Monday in Helsinki, President Trump had an opportunity to speak out on all of these things
for a pin that goes through there.
To confront Putin
it's
about
very
these
close to this flange
destabilizing
here.
and inhumane policies.
So I'm using a tiny little center drill. I'm going to center drill it. And then I'm going to drill it out.
Here is the main point.
That fits in there nicely.
If for whatever reason the President of the United States is not going to do what is right, Congress must do it. Democrats must do it. Republicans must do it. The Congress must make it clear, and this is the resolution that I am introducing and asking for unanimous consent.
This is going to be quite a challenge because I'm not sure how I'm going to drill that
we accept the assessment of our intelligence
to the body of the rower.
With regard to Russian election
this is a significant distance there, and that's a tiny hole. So I would need a very long bit that is
the Congress
thin.
must move
I don't know.
aggressively
I may have to make
protect
something for that.
our
I'm not sure yet.
system
So here's my plan. This is
interference by Russia
3
or
30
any
seconds hole
foreign power
that I need to drill.
Does
So what I'm going
anybody
to do
deny the
is I'm going to
importance
face this
of that?
off.
the Congress must demand that the sanctions against Russia,
hole in the end,
as the Democratic leader mentioned, passing with 98 votes, be fully implemented. 98 votes on that issue. The Congress must make it clear that we will not accept any interference with the ongoing investigation of Special Counsel Mueller, such as the offer of preemptive pardons for the firing of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, and that the President must cooperate with this investigation.
So I find out where my final cuts are going to be.
Republicans,
and unfortunately, my casting defect is going to end up right about
there.
I have an idea. It may not be a good one, but we're going to see. This is pewter, and if I can melt the pewter and get it to go down in there,
nothing new here.
I should have a good mechanical bond.
Even
if it isn't
his job is to protect the values.
It's just cosmetic. At least it will cover up the defect. That would be ideal, is just to TIG weld over this and then mill it flat. But I don't have one. I could go to a friend and get them to do it. But at this point, I want to keep doing this all myself.
He is the President of the United States, and his job is to protect the interests of the American people, not Russia.
You know her name?
Tweets, comments, and press conferences, and I know many of my Republican colleagues have been engaged in those activities. They are fine. They're constructive. But we need more from Republican senators now. It is time for the Senate to rein in the President's dangerous behavior. If their leadership, Senator McConnell, will not allow votes on this extraordinarily important matter, then my Republican colleagues must join with Democrats to make it happen, or all of their fine-sounding words of concern become meaningless. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that as if in legislative session, the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of S-Res 582 submitted earlier today. I further ask that the resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection? President. Senator from Kentucky.
Trump derangement syndrome has officially come to the Senate. The hatred for the president is so intense that partisans would rather risk war than give diplomacy a chance. Does anybody remember that Ronald Reagan sat down with Gorbachev and we lessened the nuclear tensions? We need to still have those openings. Nobody is saying or excusing Russia's meddling in our elections. Absolutely. We should protect the integrity of our elections. But simply bringing the hatred of the president to the Senate floor in order to say, we're done with diplomacy.
Legally, there's no requirement to put a serial number on this. Let's think of this more as a signature.
I would rather that we still have open channels of discussion with the Russians. Kennedy, at the height of the Cold War, had a direct line to Khrushchev, and it may have prevented the end of the war. Should we be so crazy about partisanship that we now say, we don't want to talk to the Russians, we're not going to have relations with the Russians? We should stand firm and say, stay the hell out of our elections, but we should not stick our head in the ground and say we're not going to talk to them. I would like to see the Russians leave Ukraine. I think we could do it through diplomacy. We're not going to have it if we don't talk to them. I would like to see the Russians help more with North Korea, with denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We're not going to have it if we just simply heap more sanctions on and say we're not going to talk to the Russians, and anybody that talks to the Russians has committed treason. For goodness sakes, we have the former head of the CIA, John Brennan, gallivanting across TV, now being paid for his opinion, to call the president treasonous. This has got to stop. This is crazy hatred of the president. This is crazy partisanship that is driving this. For goodness sakes, we don't excuse Russia's behavior in our election, but we don't have to have war. We can still have engagement. We have engaged Russia throughout 70 years while also acknowledging the imperfections of their system. The parts of their system that we vehemently disagree with. The lack of freedom, the lack of human rights, and yet we have open channels of negotiation, open channels of communication. So I could not object more strongly to this, Mr. President. I object.
Mr. President. Objection is heard.
President.
Senator from Vermont.
The senator from Kentucky just told us he wants dialogue with Russia. He wants diplomacy with Russia, that he thinks it's important that we communicate with Russia. I agree. Who disagrees with that? There is not one word in this resolution that suggests that the United States of America should not aggressively engage in diplomacy with Russia to ease the tensions that exist between the two countries. What the senator said is totally irrelevant to what is in this resolution. What this resolution says is we're going to tell Russia, stop interfering in our elections. What this resolution is about is to tell Russia to stop interfering with democratic countries all over the world in their elections. What this resolution is about is saying that we should implement the sanctions overwhelmingly voted by Congress. What this resolution is about
that I took out
is
of
that
a commercial bullet that I bought.
Will
And
not
that is
accept
one bullet's worth of powder,
interference
so it's not going to be
with
as
the
powerful of a
ongoing
shot, which is fine with me.
investigation of Special
I'll just
Counsel
put as
Robert
much powder
Mueller,
in it as I can get in.
and that what this resolution says is the President must cooperate with the investigation of Mr. Mueller. That's what this resolution is about. It has nothing to do with ending
There you go.
diplomacy with Russia
Is a tin can bullet.
at all. So
For the
that is
sticklers out
just
there, it's a tin can
inaccurate,
cartridge.
and I would
This is the
hope
casing,
that
this
if
is the
not
bullet,
today,
two
in the
together,
very near
or
future,
cartridge. Should we shoot
Republicans
it?
will join Democrats and do the right thing in our effort to preserve American democracy. Thank you.
All right, this is the first shot.
In Balfour.
Is it going to blow up?
Yeah, I'll need one. They could slow down. Let's go. Port Town, show a quick part of that out of Balfour. 0.0 to CTD at 1928.
Location?
2600 Charleston, Johnston, North 5611.
What better target to shoot at with the soda can gun and the soda can bullet?
Yes, if you could, Jamie, that would be great.
Alright, so I got my tin can bullet here. I'm going to put it in position 2 in the magazine. Standard ammunition above it. So the first shot's going to be a regular round. Let's see if this thing will actually cycle through the action correctly. Yeah, we're chambered. Now I gotta go turn on the high-speed camera. Hope I don't miss. I think I'm only gonna get one shot at this. And who knows if this thing is gonna fly right. Probably won't, the bullet's so light.
Difficulty breathing. I'll start you an engine. Work off EMS 1 at 1929.
Here we go.
We have a one vehicle accident involved.
Soda can AR hitting
water. We do
PBR.
have one person trapped inside.
Objective and chambered a new round. Find that casing. I don't know if you can see it, kind of blew it apart, cracked the casing, broke here. That cast aluminum is just so brittle. Hey there, welcome to Farmcraft. In this video I'm going to turn a bunch of these into one of these. Wait, really? What's the big deal? You're making this piece when you've got all these other pieces to make the whole gun. Well, the lower, or the frame of a gun, is the gun. This is the piece that's regulated. This is the piece with the serial number on it. The only thing here in the eyes of the government that is a gun is the lower. The rest of this is just parts. You can order them online. They'll deliver them right to your door. No questions asked.
I start by melting down a bunch of aluminum cans in my foundry furnace. I actually use 265 cans in this build, and then pouring the molten aluminum into a muffin tin to make ingots, which gave me a good supply of aluminum. I need to pour the molten aluminum into a mold that is the right size and shape to make my AR-15 lower. In order to do this, I need a pattern that I will make out of wood. Here I am starting with a couple pieces of plywood. This is a split pattern, which is the reason I glued newspaper in between, and that aids in the molding process, as you will see later.
No 450, 10-4 area. Charlie 355, 10-4. Charlie 360.
Sugar unknown LE 4901 Saratoga, Campus Victor. 40, case number will be 111-0111.
So now I've got my pattern. So there's one core there, one core here, and then one core here. Here you can see where the cores are. One's right through the trigger, the other is through the magazine, and then the last one is here through where the stock threads are.
1805-739. So I wouldn't leave.
Oh, I'm not. I'll wait for a little time.
Kenny and North Staples. Kenny and North Staples.
Advised maybe a block from that location at the Belmont's place. Advised that a male busted a window wearing a dark shirt, dark pants, carrying 3 large bags.
5'3", 100 pounds, front of a brown.
450 rotation.
Right hand. Could be 29.
Slide back.
Possession. Place full extradition. Pennsylvania State, Indiana statewide extradition. Give him a call back. Or a call.
355 female officer, 10-4.
Yeah, 10-4. We don't have any
female officer. This is Charlie 255. Case number is 21-0021. Well, thank you.
3-3-4.
Senator from Arizona.
Mr. President, we're here to put forward a resolution and ask for unanimous consent for its adoption. This is Coons' resolution, which Senator Coons will speak first on, and then I'll take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. President. I come to the floor today with my
Senator from Delaware.
Thank you, Mr. President. I come to the floor today with my colleague, Senator Flake of Arizona, to send a strong and clear, and importantly, a bipartisan message to the American people, which is that we stand with the men and women of the Department of Justice, the men and women of the U.S. intelligence community. We support the ongoing investigation into Russian interference in our elections, and we must act, and act unequivocally, to hold Russia accountable for its actions. Mr. President, just 3 days
So the aluminum actually went through the vents, which is fine, because those are just tiny little holes that it
led
penetrated.
to an indictment
That tells me it really
against
filled the
12
mold.
Russian military intelligence officers for interfering in our 2016 election. President Trump stood shoulder to shoulder with President Putin and failed to challenge Putin's claim that his government played no role in the effort to undermine our democracy. In fact, when asked at the time whether he believed Putin's denial or the
So a
U.S.
little bit of an issue here where the pour spout was. I got some shrinkage and it pulled, made some cracks there, and you can see there's some voids inside where this whole thing, and there's a slight indentation right there, where this whole mass of metal right there was contracting. So I'm just going to proceed with it. If I've got a major defect there that I can't machine out, and it's going to affect the function, and then I'll weld it. So my first step on machining is just going to be to clean up the edges so that I can get a good grip in the lathe, and then I'm going to work on making this portion. I'm going to thread it like this is threaded, and then I'll machine it to that
Offering the
profile.
most thorough and detailed accounting to date of Russia's complex effort to sow doubt and create chaos in the months leading up to our last election. The resolution also reaffirms the intelligence community's assessment of Russian interference and asserts Russia must be held to account for its actions. This can be accomplished in part by immediately and responsibly implementing sanctions provided for in the Countering America's Adversaries.
So this here is one of the most challenging parts of this bill.
This body passed
So I've
98
got
to
to
2
thread
in the
that.
Senate.
That's where the stock
Finally,
threads are.
following the President's summit
So why did I
with
make
Putin
this so
in
long?
Helsinki, today's resolution
Because I'm
calls
going
for prompt
to
hearings
use this
and the
part
release
out
of
here
notes to better
with a steady
understand what
rest
the two leaders
to
discussed and they
then
have agreed to
hold it
during
while
their
I'm
one-on-one
threading.
meeting that ran
This
for
is
2
left
hours.
long because I
am
needed a good
encouraged
solid
by hearings that have
attachment
already
point
been
so that
scheduled,
it would be
but I
rigid.
think it is
And
important
once I get
that
the
it
threads
be clear
in,
that our Senate
then I will mill
seeks
that
a
off
role
and I'll mill
in
that
engagement
off.
and oversight. Congress and the American people deserve to know what promises or concessions may have been made to President Putin, and thorough hearings with senior administration officials, including Secretary Pompeo, are critical. Mr. President, this resolution is a first step, a good first step. We need to be clear on it. President Putin of Russia will not stop until we stop him. We know we face continued threats to our elections in 2018 and beyond. Just last week, Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates, our former colleague here in the Senate, cautioned that the warning lights are blinking red again on cyber attacks against our nation. And he said, and I quote, "These actions are persistent, they're pervasive, and they are meant to undermine America's democracy. Attacks on our country's digital infrastructure," he said, "is made principally by Russia." He said, and I quote, "Russia is the most aggressive foreign actor and the worst offender." So we know that we continue to face hostile threats. FBI Director Christopher Wray said just yesterday, Russia is still working.
I've got this set perfectly square to the axis of the work. The compound set at 29.5 degrees.
So we need to join
feed
arms
in,
and look forward to
going this way
protecting our
to
next
engage
election.
the threading tool.
Today's resolution is an important first step, but I think we should work together to take up and pass the Deter Act, introduced by Senators Rubio and Van Hollen, to deter Russia from interfering in our next election. I think we should take up and consider the Langford-Klobuchar Secure Elections Act to strengthen election cybersecurity. Of course, I'd like to see my Special Counsel Independence Act taken up and voted on as well. We could build on the $380 million invested in election security, grants provided by this Congress to states back in March to help bolster their election systems against threats. It's important to remember Putin and Putin's Russia are attacking other democratic processes throughout Europe. And as Americans, as senators, we need to stand up and fight for our democracy and the rule of law. I had a memorable conversation with a Ukrainian leader last year who said to me, "If you don't defend your own elections, your own democracy, how can the rest of us count on you to defend ours?" This resolution makes clear that on a bipartisan basis, we intend to defend our democracy. Mr. President, Russia's attacks on our last elections were attacks on every American, Republican and Democrat. The threat is grave, it is pressing, and it demands that we act. Today's resolution is a first step and an important one, and I call on my colleagues to join us in supporting it. If there is any senator who disagrees with this very basic resolution, I look forward to hearing for the
So now
reason.
I need to square off these
Mr. President, let
corners
me
here,
close
and the
by
way I'm going to
thanking
do that is with a
my
broach.
colleague and friend, Senator Flake from
one problem.
Arizona, for
I don't
having
have a
taken
broach.
the initiative and the
So I'm
lead in
gonna make one out of
introducing
drill
this
rod.
important resolution. We may not agree on everything, but we agree on this important principle. We should stand and be counted in defense of our democracy. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Senator from Arizona.
Mr. President, I thank the senators from Delaware, Senator Coons, for helping get together and working on this resolution and for working it through his caucus. I hope that we can pass it today. There may be an objection to moving forward. If there is, we'll bring it back again and again. This needs to be passed. The Senate needs to speak here. Mr. President, in his dystopian novel, 1984, George Orwell wrote, quote, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their most
So next I'm going to mill out these
most
slots
final,
where the
essential
trigger
command."
assembly fits.
Well, we saw earlier this week in Helsinki what was truly an Orwellian moment. What we saw earlier this week in Helsinki is what happens when you wage war on objective reality for nearly 2 solid years, calling real things fake and fake things real, as if conditioning others to embrace the same confusion. Ultimately, you're rendered unable to tell the difference between the two, and are at critical times seemingly rendered incapable of thinking clearly. Your mind a hash of conspiracy theory and fragments of old talking points, deployed in response
So as
to
I
a
expected,
question no one
there's a
even
casting
asked.
defect in there. I think I'm okay if I get into anything that looks too bad. I may have to do some welding or epoxying or something.
It wasn't
My
a hard
first hole
question, Mr.
is
President.
1.128
An American
in the
president was
X,
invited by a
and I'm
reporter
already
to
at the right
to
spot on
denounce
my
the
watch.
Russian
And that's
attacks
a
on our
quarter-inch hole.
elections, and in doing so, to defend the
1.128.
country that he was elected to lead. This should have been not much of a test at all for any American president, and yet it was, and our president failed that test. The findings of our intelligence community regarding the Russian aggression are not matters of
Let's
opinion,
move to our next spot.
no matter how powerful and strong Putin's denial. To reject these findings and to reject the excruciating specific indictment against the 12 named Russian operatives in deference to the word of KGB apparatchik is an act of will on the part of the President.
I'm ready to.
And that choice now leaves us contemplating the dark mystery. Why did he do that? What would compel our President to do such a thing? Those are questions that urgently beg for an answer, and it is our job to find that answer. But what isn't a mystery is that by choosing to reject object reality in Helsinki, the President let down the free world by giving aid and comfort to an enemy of democracy. In so doing, he dimmed the light of freedom ever so slightly in our own country. Such is the power that we vest in the presidency. Such are the consequences when a president does not use that power well. I can add no further to the extraordinary and thoroughly justified response of my fellow Americans from across the political spectrum to the events in Helsinki, ranging from heartbreak to the other side. But I will say that if ever there was a moment to think not of just your party, but for the country,
I think you can see there's
this is
the
not
hole
a
that goes all the way
moment
through.
for spin, deflection,
Then there's a 5/16 hole,
circling the wagons,
and then the
forgetting, moving on to the next news cycle, or for more of Orwell's doublespeak. No, when the American government offers an onslaught on unreality, it puts the whole world at risk. That is the lesson of Helsinki. That is the dose of reality that hit hard. We have indulged myths and fabrications, pretended that it wasn't so bad, and our indulgence got us the capitulation.
So I've got to drill that little hole
we in the
that holds
Senate
a spring and a
been
detent for a
elected
pin
to
that goes
represent
through
our
there.
constituents
And
cannot
it's
be
very close to this
enablers
flange
of
here.
falsehoods.
So I'm using a tiny little center drill.
This bipartisan resolution from the Senator from Delaware and I
this bit
that we have here
fits in there
today
nicely.
commends the Department of Justice for its thorough investigation that has led to the indictment of 12 Russian operatives who, on behalf of the Russian government, interfered in the 2016 election. It acknowledges that such efforts by the Russian government to undermine our elections, as confirmed by our own Director of National Intelligence, continue.
This is going to be quite a challenge because I'm not sure how I'm going to drill
of
that
election
hole
interference by Russian
that
President
close
Vladimir Putin.
to the body
that our
of the lower.
President failed to do when given an
This is a
opportunity
significant
in a public
distance
forum
there,
in Helsinki on
and that's a tiny hole, so I would need a
This
very
resolution
long
calls
bit
for the full and
that
immediate
is
implementation of
very
mandatory
thin.
sanctions
I don't
passed by a
know.
vote
I may have to
on
make something for that. I'm not sure yet. So here's my plan. This is a
election interference
free
by
30
the
seconds hole that I
If
need to
there
drill.
are waivers
So
that
what I'm
are
going to do
and there are
is I'm going to face this off,
for the Indian government,
cut it to
for
length,
the weapons they
and
purchased
drill a free 30
from
second
the
hole
Russian
in the
government
end.
or
At
hardware.
least just enough of this bit exposed
There
to drill
is
what
a
I need
waiver
to drill.
process
And then
already
I'm
in
going
law
to lock it in.
for that, and I would support it. Finally, the resolution calls on the relevant committees of the Senate to exercise oversight, including prompt hearings and obtaining relevant notes and information to understand what commitments were made by the President at the summit and the impact it will have on our foreign policy going forward. The Russian ambassador last night said that, quote, important verbal
Unfortunately, my
agreements were
casting
made.
defect is going to end up right about there.
Mr. President,
I have an idea,
we
it
need
may
to
not
know
be good,
the
but we're going to see. This is pewter, and if I can melt the pewter and get it to go down in there,
Mr. President,
it's a very irregular hole. I should have a good mechanical bond.
Has taken a beating
even if
for
it
the
isn't
last 18
actually
months.
bonded to the metal.
I said to this pulpit in
At least it'll
January
cover up the defect.
that the
That would be
dissemination
ideal,
of
is just to
untruths
TIG weld
has
over
the
this and then
effect
mill it
of
flat.
eroding
I
trust
don't
in our
have one
vital
I can go to a friend and get them to do it.
conditioning the
At
public
this
to
point,
no
I'm going
longer
to keep
trust
doing
them.
this all myself. So,
As we saw in Helsinki on Monday, entertaining the untruths of a dictator has the same effect. Passing this resolution will let our constituents, the administration, our allies, and our adversaries know that here in the Senate, we do not entertain the deceit.
not perfect, but a lot better than it was, I think.
The truth is, Russia interfered in our elections in 2016, and these efforts continue. Accepting that truth is the first step in preparing us to confront this malign activity. Let's pass this resolution. Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the consideration of S-Res 583 submitted earlier today. I ask unanimous consent the resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, and that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid on the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection?
President.
Majority Whip.
Mr. President, reserving the right to object. Let me first thank the Senator from Arizona and the Senator from Delaware for expressing all of our concern about Russian interference in the 2016 election. It's absolutely clear they did, and the President has said as much on a number of occasions. Now, I agree, in Helsinki, he was less than clear about that, but he came back and said that he misspoke and reaffirmed his earlier position that, yes, the Russian government had attempted to interfere in the election, although nobody disputes the fact that they were unsuccessful in changing a single vote or affecting the outcome. Ironically, the very
legally, there's no requirement to put a serial number on this.
Made clear
let's think of this more as a signature.
To disrupt the election has also made clear there is no evidence of collusion that anybody has uncovered to date. So my concern is with this resolution is that it is purely a symbolic act, and what we need to do is not just offer symbolic resolutions on the floor. We need to do the hard work that senators have to do through the regular order. In other words, our committees that have jurisdiction over these issues ought to be permitted to call the witnesses and ask the hard questions and develop the record before we go on record as to a resolution like this. I would point out that the indictments that were referred to, apparently, according to published reports, Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, asked the President before Helsinki should he withhold announcement of those indictments or go ahead before the summit. And the President said, no, go ahead. Well, anybody who's read the 29 pages of the indictment issued at the request of Robert Mueller by a grand jury here in the District of Columbia knows there is chapter and verse of how Russians attempted to interfere with the election. It's a good and important read. But the President knew that before he went to Helsinki, so to me, it gives me some confidence that he did indeed misspeak, especially in light of his subsequent affirmations of Russian interference in the election. I happen to be privileged to sit on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. We have been conducting bipartisan investigation of the Russian matter for the entire time that the President has been in office, for the last year and a half. We've already issued some preliminary reports. That's the way to do our work, is through bipartisan committee work, have the witnesses come and testify, ask them hard questions, and render our judgment. I know that Secretary Pompeo is coming before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee sometime next week. He ought to be asked hard questions, and I'm confident he will respond to those questions. But that's how we get the information we need. Let me just say that I think we should consider sanctions, not sort of sense of the Senate resolutions that have no sting or no impact, certainly no deterrent effect on what we all want to discourage, which is Russian involvement in our 2018 election. And that's why the Majority Leader today asked the Chairman of the Banking and Foreign Relations Committee to hold hearings and recommend additional measures that
a commercial bullet that I bought.
Respond
so that is one bullet's worth of powder, but it's not going to be as powerful of a shot, which is fine.
That's the way we ought to do our work.
I'll just put as much powder in it as I can get in.
Through our committees of jurisdiction, because you know what? When we rush to judgment and we try to do resolutions like this, we can inadvertently make mistakes. And let me point out one that's in this resolution. There's a reference to the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, which passed the Senate 98-2 to deter and punish election interference by the Russian Federation. There is a provision in the current conference committee on the Defense Authorization Committee that will issue a waiver of that act to our partner, India. Now, if we want to encourage countries like India to come into to partner with the United States of America,
the world's largest democracy and the world's oldest democracy, then we ought to be all about encouraging that movement toward us and away from the Russian Federation. And I worry there's no reference in here to the waiver provision in the Defense Authorization Committee that India has asked for.
What better target to shoot at with the soda can gun and the soda can bullet?
Congress grant. So all I'm asking.
All right, so I got my tin can bullet here.
That in the rush,
I'm going to put it in position 2 in the magazine. Standard ammunition above it. First shot is going to be regular round. See if this thing will actually cycle through the action correctly.
To the committees that have jurisdiction over these matters to do it carefully and thoughtfully in a bipartisan way, so we come up with the best solution to the problem.
Now I got to go turn on the high-speed camera.
So, Madam President, I just think this is the wrong way to go about it. I think
if I don't miss, I think I'm only going to get one shot. Who knows if this thing is going to fly right?
Armed Services Committee, the Foreign Relations Committee, and the Banking Committee, and we ought to come up with the right kind of bipartisan answer, which I think could well be for sanctions against the Federation to deter them from meddling in our 2018 elections and beyond. And I'm confident they will continue until we stop them from doing so. Madam President, I would object.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President, Madam President.
The senator from Arizona.
We ejected.
I think it's reasonable that this is objected to. We will bring it back. The
if you can see
majority leader said that
blew
this
apart,
is just a symbolic vote.
cracked
It
the
is.
casing, broke here.
And symbolism is
the
important.
cast aluminum is just so brittle.
Obviously, we have
the shock
underlying
of
sanctions that we ought to fully
the pressure in the chamber just blows it
If
apart.
there are waivers that are needed, there's a waiver process.
So I'm not going to be
already
reloading
in the
that.
NDAA authorization. And I support those waivers with regard to India.
So the assessment
this
on
does not
the tin
affect
can
that.
bullet, kind of a
This
cool
simply
idea.
says,
A whole lot of work for one more shot. I wouldn't recommend it.
Don't
Look at all
buy
that trash.
Vladimir Putin's rejection
I could make something
for his
out of that.
denial of election interference. That was put in question this week, whether our government believes that or not. We here in the Senate should stand and say, we don't believe it. We know the intelligence is right. We stand behind our intelligence community. We need to say that in the Senate. Yes, it's symbolic, and symbolism is important. Our agencies of government need to know that we stand behind them. That's what this is about. So I hope that we will pass this. I don't regretfully that there's been an objection to it, but we'll bring it back.
Hey there, welcome to FarmCraft. In this video, I'm going to turn a bunch of these into one of these.
And with that, I yield back.
Wait, really? What's the big deal? You're making this piece when you've got all these other pieces to make the whole gun. Well, the lower or the frame of a gun is the gun. This is the piece that's regulated. This is the piece with the serial number on it. The only thing here in the eyes of the government that is a gun is the lower. The rest of this is just parts. You can order them online. They'll deliver them right to your door. No questions asked.
I start by melting down a bunch of aluminum cans in my foundry furnace. I actually use 265 cans in this build, and then pouring the molten aluminum into a muffin tin to make ingots, which gave me a good supply of aluminum. I need to pour the molten aluminum into a mold that is the right size and shape to make my AR-15 lower.
Without objection.
In order to do this, I need a pattern that I will make out of wood. Here I am starting with a couple pieces of plywood.
The senator from
This is a split
Madam President,
pattern,
I
which
just
is the
wanted to
reason
join
I
my colleague from
glued
Arizona and
newspaper
briefly
in between,
remarking,
and that
on
aids
my
in the
regret
molding
that
process,
our
as you will see
resolution was
later.
not adopted today. It does call for the full implementation of mandatory sanctions provided for in CATSA, as discussed at some length. But it does not call for the reckless implementation of mandatory sanctions. There are a significant range of sanctions already provided for in this law, adopted by 98 to 2 by this
So there's one core there, one core here, and then one core here. Here you can see.
I recognize that this resolution,
where the
standing
cores are.
strong behind
One's up
the
through the
Department of
trigger.
Justice,
The other
the
is through
intelligence
the
community,
magazine.
and its ongoing
And then the
investigations
last
is, as was
is
referenced,
here through
a
where the
symbolic
stock
act.
threads on.
But there are moments when symbolism and standing together are important. And I look forward to continuing to work closely with my colleague and friend from Arizona to ensure that this resolution is adopted, that the American people and the men and women of our federal law enforcement agencies and our intelligence community understand that this body strongly supports them and their work and sees clearly the ongoing and continuing threat to our democracy posed by President Putin and Putin's Russia. Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President, first, before I talk about the resolution that Senators Menendez, Schatz, and myself will be voted, that we have authored, that will be voted on at 1:45, I'd like to say a few words about the work of my friends from Delaware and Arizona, and my severe disappointment that there was objection from the Republican leadership. The bottom line is very simple. President Trump has put our country in a foreign policy crisis. President Trump has weakened the security of this country. A resolution is the minimum we can do. The minimum. We should be acting. And the idea that we cannot even pass a resolution in this body because of the objection of the other side, when this was done in a bipartisan, careful way by the senators from Arizona and Delaware, shows something very bad. That our colleagues on the other side of the aisle are so cowed by a president that they cannot stand up for national security. They cannot stand up to Vladimir Putin. As the president. And I'd say one more point. From what I am told, one of the major objections from the other side was the including of contemporaneous notes. That Congress wished that contemporaneous notes in that secret meeting for 2 hours.
The aluminum actually went through the vents, which is fine, because those are just tiny little holes that it penetrated.
That is key. What are they hiding? What are they afraid of? Don't the American people have a right to know what went on in that meeting? Particularly when President Putin gets up and talks about some agreements that it seems not even our high-ranking officials in the state, defense, intelligence departments.
So a little bit of an issue here where the pour spout was. I got some shrinkage and it pulled, made some cracks there, and you can see there's some voids inside where this whole thing, and there's a slight indentation right there. Where this whole mass of metal right there was contracting. I'm just going to proceed with it. If I've got a major defect there that I can't machine out, and it's going to affect the function, then I'll weld it. So my first step on machining is just going to be to clean up the edges so that I can get a good grip in the lathe, and then I'm going to work on making this portion. I've got to thread it like this is threaded, and then I'll machine it to that profile.
When they talked about relevant people coming, my view, and I believe the view of the senator from Delaware, was that that would include the translator. I'm not sure if it was the view of my friend from Arizona. But it doesn't matter. We're not even passing this resolution. I have to say, this was a moment for bipartisanship. This was a moment for America.
So this here is one of the most challenging parts of this build.
When the president doesn't serve the
that's where the stop
well.
So why did I make this so long? Because I'm going to use this part out here with a steady rest to then hold it while I'm threading. This is left long because I needed a good solid attachment point so that it...
Fear. My guess is, if you looked inside the hearts and minds, every member on the other side, all but maybe one or two, would feel this is the right resolution. But they're afraid. Fear will not get us anywhere. Letting a bully push us around, meaning President Putin, as he pushed President Trump around, will not serve this country well. It's a sad moment that this resolution was rejected. Now, before I yield to my good friend, the hard-working and very, very able head of the ranking member of the Foreign Relations Committee, I just want to talk on our resolution, which we are going to get a vote on. Lord knows if we couldn't have even gotten a vote on that. The idea that an American ambassador who served us so well should be brought before Putin and his minions to be questioned when there is no charge against him, no issue against him. It's not like the 12 Russians who were indicted for trying to interfere with our elections. There's not even an analogy. There's not even an evenness. And President Trump amazingly called this an incredible offer. Our president is saying that one of our ambassadors to be hauled before an authoritarian regime that twists the truth, that lies at will, that even seems to kill people they want to with poison in other countries.
The 411, they advised it was 5 minutes.
That's an incredible offer.
Can you call
well,
a gentleman named Jack?
This resolution is a fine resolution. It'll pass. It doesn't undo what just happened. It doesn't make up for the fact that our colleagues are afraid to take real action, and even a resolution that posits action in terms of the major misdeeds at Helsinki. But at the very least, we're protecting the integrity of men and women who serve us. Because if today it's the ambassador, tomorrow it could be somebody in the military, or somebody in the intelligence agencies, or elsewhere. So this resolution is very clear. What it says, what it says is that President Trump, when President Trump called Putin's offer an incredible offer, he was incredibly wrong. No president can put one of our fine servants who've worked hard, in this case, for the diplomatic corps at risk. And this resolution, a bare minimum of what we should be doing here. I'm glad it will be on the floor, and I suspect it will pass, hopefully unanimously. I yield the floor to my colleague from New Jersey.
Madam President.
Senator from New Jersey.
Madam President, I'm very pleased to join with the distinguished Democratic leader in co-authoring this resolution. Before I speak to it, I do want to speak to the State Kings resolution. I certainly would have supported it, although I believe it's the minimum of what this body should be expressing after what we saw in Helsinki. This is a moment for bipartisanship and for patriotism, because what I saw in Helsinki speaks to the opposite of standing up to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I find it interesting in the Majority Whip's objection to the resolution coming to a vote that, among other things, he's talking about we should have more sanctions against Russia, which I will speak to shortly. We are in the midst of developing a new strong package of sanctions as it relates to Russia. So I embrace and welcome him to that effort if he seeks to actually see real sanctions against Russia. But, you know, we have sanctions. There are sanctions that passed 98-2 in this institution, passed overwhelmingly in the House of Representatives, forced the President to sign it as a result of overwhelming votes, and yet have not been fulfilled. Sanctions that were largely mandatory but have not been fulfilled. So we could start off by having a robust engagement of the existing sanctions, and I'm not quite sure how we start being tough on Russia. One of the elements of those sanctions was to go after Russia's defense sales of defense weapons, and here we are, we're already looking for waivers. So there's a difference between a country that maybe has a long history of buying Russian military equipment, but the S-400, a new anti-defense system, that's a new version. That's not a legacy issue. So I'm not sure how we're going to tell one country you can buy the S-400, but another country you can't. It doesn't work. That's how sanctions begin to crumble at the end of the day. But I welcome the response that we should be having new sanctions. Now, as it relates to this resolution, it's outrageous that the White House would not instantaneously and firmly dismiss a proposition that Russian prosecutors would come question a former United States ambassador. Again and again, we have seen President Trump take Vladimir Putin's word. And it's unconscionable that this White House would give anything other than a full-throated defense of America's foreign service, like Ambassador Mike McFaul, who served our country with honor and distinction. The reason that Putin doesn't like Mike McFaul is because as our U.S. ambassador, he stood up for democracy, human rights in Russia. He stood up to the Russian regime. He promoted American values and ideals. He spoke truth to power inside of Russia. That's why Putin wants him. Congress shouldn't have to tell America's president to stand up for America's public servants and its diplomatic corps, but apparently we have to. President Trump has repeatedly dismissed Russia's attack in 2016, and he shrugs off the threat it poses today despite all of its intelligence agencies and the Director of National Intelligence just days ago saying there are red blinking lights about Russia's continual engagement and interference in the elections that will take place 110 days from now. This week, he continuously and directly contradicted his own national security advisors and instead embraced the line of Putin and Russian intelligence. Now, I know they've been trying to clean it up, but he said it so many times the same way he said it in Helsinki. That's what he really believes. That's what he really believes. And now to say something different, wrong time, wrong continent, not too much. He spouted talking points that sound like they're straight from the Kremlin. He's shown a willingness to accede to Putin's request to interrogate Americans, a willingness to accept Putin's denials about Russian interference, a willingness to attack NATO allies like Montenegro, and a willingness to be a supplicant to Putin's views. The president keeps claiming he's been tough on Russia. No, it's Congress that has been tough on Russia by passing the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act with broad and deep bipartisan support. The White House hasn't taken it seriously. They've ignored a series of mandates in the law. The clear tone and intent coming from the Helsinki summit was one of accommodation, not oppression. Madam President, I don't see any other way forward other than further congressional action to forcefully call out and address the administration's willful paralysis to Putin's abhorrent behavior. Our efforts to date have been transformative, but just as the administration has been prepared to find ways that allow them to circumvent the law and avoid implementing mandatory provisions of CATSA, we must be equally prepared to adjust and adapt by closing those loopholes. That's why I will soon introduce comprehensive legislation to increase pressure to actually implement the law and increase pressure on Russia for its aggression against the United States and our allies. Among the considerations we have for this new legislation will be to increase sanctions on Russia's energy sector, to increase sanctions on its cyber sector, to increase pressure on Russia's oligarchs and those who are closest to Putin, and to look at Russia's sovereign debt as a target. We cannot wait to see whether Russia attacks us in the 2018 election. We know that they are in the midst of making that a reality, and we need to ramp up the pressure. We can't afford to wait. And based on this president's behavior, we also need to protect our institutions here at home. That's why we want to include protections for the Office of the Special Counsel. The president has done more to target Bob Mueller than he has to go after Vladimir Putin. And this must stop. This effort must be bipartisan, which is why I look forward to working with Republican colleagues who truly want to see us fight back on Russia, nearly all of whom voted to increase sanctions on Russia last year and place more authority for sanctions alleviation in the hands of Congress. They were right to support such measures in July of 2017, and God knows they would be right now to step up and defend America's interests. It's time to show the American people that we can be patriots, not just parties. It's time to show the world that we can put our country over party. And it's time that we defend America's democratic institutions against Russia's continued aggression. I look forward to the resolution and its vote and urge everyone to join us in approving it. With that, Madam President, I yield the floor and observe the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Your black male and a dark gray t-shirt and shorts. Outside the office. Charlie 455.
455, we're here at Marbella looking for that other suspicious male.
4, they took the RP's wallet, not sure if they're related. Via Drive. Calls coming in third party. I don't know where the suspect is. 85-year-old male who has asthma. Work off EMS 1 at 2011.
Not eligible, expires 19. It's going to be due to a surcharge of intoxication. The address is going to be at a Spring, Texas.
Starting is 30. Call from Medic 71 control for a major traffic accident, 9501 I-27, 9501 I-77. It's going to be near exit 9. PSS 2011, we have a silver Nissan Sentra. Advising the male is conscious and breathing. The vehicle is leaking gas. Latinos work on EMS 1 at 507.
You can be right that way.
Their chest pains at La Pon and North Alameda Street. La Pon and North Alameda. 2812 is on scene requesting a medic for chest pains. Work off EMS 1 on 2012.
The descriptions on the male.
Senator from Iowa.
I asked that the calling of the former.
Log on for 2702. It says
today
manual
we
log on.
will vote on the confirmation
DRI
of
is down right
Ryan
now.
Bounds
Operators, all
to the
advise
Ninth
when it's
Circuit.
back up. The DRI is down.
He is nominated to fill the vacancy left by Judge O'Scanlan. Mr. Bounds once served as a law clerk to that Ninth Circuit Judge O'Scanlan. Mr. Bounds is highly qualified to serve on the Ninth Circuit. A native of Oregon, he attended Stanford University and Yale Law School. He has dedicated his career to public service, serving in government for the past 14 years. The last 8 years were as Assistant U.S. Attorney in Oregon. I've listened to my colleagues on the other side voice their opposition to Mr. Bounds. Interestingly, none of them cite anything Mr. Bounds has done in his legal career as a reason for opposing his nomination. Instead, they focus on two things. First, they say we shouldn't confirm Mr. Bounds because his home state senators did return their blue slips. Second, they say some of Mr. Bounds' college writings were insensitive. So I'm going to start on point number 1.
This is I took out a commercial bullet that I bought. That is one bullet's worth of powder, but it's not going to be as powerful of a shot, which is fine with me. I'll just put as much powder in it as I can get in.
And I don't know how many times the multitudes of journalists that are on the Hill. My blue slip policy is the same as all but 2 of the 18 predecessors.
There you go.
Chairman of the
That is a
Judiciary
tin can
Committee
bullet.
over the 100-year
The stickers out there,
history
it's a tin can
of blue
cartridge.
slips.
This is the casing, this is the
Chairman
bullet, 2 together,
Ted
or
Kennedy,
cartridge.
Joe Biden,
Should we shoot it?
an hour and a half. I will hold hearings for circuit court nominees with negative
this is
or
the first shot.
blue slips if the White House consulted with home state senators.
Blow up.
And I won't allow senators to abuse the blue slip courtesy for political or ideological reasons. In the case of Mr. Bounds, the White House sought the Oregon senators' input, seriously considered the one candidate suggested by the Oregon senators, and waited several months for the senators from Oregon.
What better target to shoot at with the soda can gun and the soda can bullet?
Which is quite a
Alright, so I got my tin can bullet here.
The selection committee itself.
I'm going to put it in position 2 in the magazine.
Standard
ammunition above it. The first shot's going to be a regular round. Let's see if this thing will actually cycle through the action correctly.
They say it was because Mr. Bounds didn't disclose some of his college writings to the selection committee. There's a very good reason he didn't. The selection committee never asked.
I hope I don't miss. I think I'm only going to get one shot at this. Who knows if this thing is going to fly right? Probably won't. The bullet's so light.
Moreover, the Oregon senators refused to ever meet with Mr. Bounds during this whole process, misleadingly said, this will be the first time in modern history we confirm a judge without at least one positive blue slip from one of the two state senators. Well, my Democrat colleagues have owned themselves to the way the blue slip used to be enforced.
And if you can see it, kind of blew apart.
60-vote filibuster.
Cracked the casing, broke here.
And that was done away with.
Cast aluminum is just so brittle that the shock of the
2013.
The pressure in the chamber just blows it apart. So I'm not going to be reloading out.
For example, Chairman Hatch held hearings
so the
for
assessment
5
on the
nominees
tin can bullet,
in
kind of a cool idea. A whole lot of work for one little shot. I wouldn't recommend it.
Positive
look at all that trash.
Either home state senator.
If I could make something out of that.
These nominees were voted out of committee. Then Senate Democrats blocked these nominees on the floor by using the 60-vote filibuster. But my colleagues, Democrat colleagues, abolished that filibuster, as I said, in 2014, for the reason that they needed the votes and the freedom to pack the D.C. circuit with liberal judges who would uphold Obama's regulatory scheme. Leading this effort.
Hey there, welcome to Farmcraft. I'm John. In this video, I'm going to take a bunch of these and turn them into one of these. That is the lower receiver for an AR-10, or as I like to call it, the golden gun.
Now they have a different point of view. Now he argues that he alone should have the right to block Mr. Bounds from even getting a hearing in the Judiciary Committee.
So I'm going to start out making a pattern. I'm going to make it out of this piece. I'm just going to do an open mold pour. So I'm just going to basically make a block. I'm going to pack it in sand, take the block out, pour the brass in. I'm not going to put anything on top of it.
With their friends. Now obviously today, as they consider the Bounds nomination, they know that they made a mistake. Turning to the only other criticism my colleagues have made about Mr. Bounds, and that's in regard to his college writings. I don't believe that misguided statements made in a college newspaper 25 years ago should disqualify Mr. Bounds. I hope that we don't live in a world where controversial things that we write in college.
I know people are going to ask how many bullets. I'm going to count them out here. Mix of bullets. I've got some 270, 30-06, quite a bit of 223, fair amount of 9mm, some 22. So obviously the number is going to vary a little bit depending on what you're melting.
The same thing came up on Justice Wright going to the Minnesota.
So my grand total, 1,425.
Despite very controversial writings she had in law school. You shouldn't assume that views expressed years ago during college and law school represents the nominee today. Mr. Bounds testified that he regretted much of what he wrote in those op-eds. We received numerous letters to support Mr. Bounds' nomination from people who have known him personally throughout his life. We received a letter from some of his classmates at Stanford. They wrote, and before I quote, it's kind of like, you know, they sound like they were his friends in the dormitories. And I never was a dormitory student, but I imagine you really get acquainted with people there. So this is what they had to say about Mr. Bounds. We have become aware of a handful of controversial op-eds and articles that Ryan wrote for
the pressure right there looks about level with the top of the
None of us believe that these writings reflect Ryan's character, either then or now. All of us remember our dorm mate fondly. We are
13 pounds and 4 ounces.
Yet Ryan never
got a chunk of metal for
all of us with courtesy respect,
So I poured it thick intentionally, knowing it was going to shrink. I'm glad I did because it's shrunk quite a bit.
sexual orientation,
I'm just going to mill it.
skin
All
color,
that's going to become chips.
religion, ethnicity, or any other characteristic. There is not and never has been a racist.
So the brass in bullet casings is typically standard yellow brass, which is 70% copper and 30% zinc. It is highly ductile, and that's why it's used in that application. Many of the primers used are a little somewhat, but probably not much. The high ductility of the metal makes it somewhat.
As a member of the Multnomah Bar Association,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay. Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Young people to the legal profession. He mentored young scholarship recipients and helped those same people navigate law school admissions and law school.
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay. Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay. Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, somebody's liable to shoot you. MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay, because you'd walk around here with that.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, because you'd walk around here.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
somebody's liable. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, Okay. Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have
this has happened before.
Exactly.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So
you'd walk around here with.
So doing, he saved the lives of thousands of people, including generations of new Iowans yet to be born. Yet again.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay. Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay, because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
can I offer a suggestion?
Slingshot.
Okay, Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? slingshot. Okay? Because you walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Ed, can I offer a suggestion? slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
Madam President, I rise today to give tribute.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
The plight of the brave people of Cuba.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
And their revolutionary terrorist lackeys.
Because you'd
like
walk
Che
around here
Guevara.
with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
He fought against Batista.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
The revolution
Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot.
like her brother.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
The betrayal.
Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion?
Opposition to
Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay?
It has
Because you'd
further
walk around here
united them
with
to
that
fight for
BB
freedom
gun
and
that I
build
just
a
saw,
better future.
somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
Can I offer a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot.
Countries like Venezuela.
Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion?
Located right here in Washington.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion?
We're working to bring hope.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion?
Hopefully with my dad.
Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot.
Today.
Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know. You come here with a machine gun. This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this, MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
Like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.
All three of you.
So if you don't want to have this,
MEChANiCAL for a suggestion? Slingshot. Okay? Because you'd walk around here with that BB gun that I just saw, somebody's liable to shoot you.
like I said, I didn't know.
You come here with a machine gun.
Yeah.
This has happened before.
Exactly.